R&B Money. We up. Tank. J Valentine. We are the authorities on all things R&B.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tank.
I'm J Valentine.
And this is
What is
the
it?
R&B Money Podcast.
Come on.
The
Come on.
authority
Come on.
on all things
Come on.
R&B.
Yeah.
It just got legendary.
What? I wore this Beatles shirt for a reason.
It just got
You know
historical.
why?
Tell me why.
Because the man we have here tonight, he beat the Beatles at
Knocked
something.
off the Beatles.
So that's why I wore this shirt, because I knew my partner was coming.
Knocked off the Beatles.
Yeah.
We know this nigga.
Well,
Family with this.
well.
Grew up with this nigga.
Yeah.
One of the coldest, one of the greatest of all times.
Yeah.
Saying your full name, Bryan-Michael Cox. Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
so we've been talking about this for a minute. I'm so glad, man, that we are in the building.
We here.
My brothers.
We cannot be the authority unless you come here.
Tank, man, I appreciate you. Jay, my peoples, man. We go. Y'all about to see how far back we go for real. This is real family talk. This is
my
real
God.
fam talk right here.
Listen, back in them noontime buildings. It was 957
957 West Marietta, baby.
on the railroad tracks.
On the railroad track.
Yes.
When we was
the
all-
railroad's right behind the building.
We was just trying. Hold on, let the train pass and we'll get the next vocal. Let the train,
No, for
the
real.
train pass and we'll get the next vocal.
Absolutely.
When we was all just trying.
Dog, just coming up, kids
dope.
trying to come up, man. All of us.
coming up.
It was me, you,
Donnie Scans.
Donnie Scans, the twins,
The
Brandon,
twins.
Eric Roberson,
Yep.
John Tay. It was a house full. Jazzy Faye, Teddy
Yep, Teddy
Bishop,
Bishop.
J Dub, Dent.
We was just
trying,
trying.
man. We was just throwing the shit at the wall,
Yeah.
man. Hoping something would stick, bro.
Every day.
every fucking day.
I mean, it worked. Everybody you just named
yeah,
is legendary in this.
yeah.
And you didn't even go to the executive side.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was just talking about just musicians. I didn't
Noonie,
even-
TR.
yeah, Chris Hicks and all them. We didn't even get into
Still doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody though,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Everybody.
That's crazy.
TR's
Imagine
killing
us
it. Everybody's
all
killing it.
being
Chris is killing
together.
it. Everybody.
If we could have seen the future,
Man.
like
I'm gonna keep it real. I tell Chris too, if we had a presence of mind of what was happening, we would have stuck together.
oh, absolutely,
Absolutely.
y'all were
It-
y'all were monstrous.
Yeah, we would have stuck together. Like I mean, we stuck together in facets. Like Jazzy and Noonie did their thing. Me and
Yeah.
Chris and John Tay. And people
Yeah.
kind of separated and did their own thing. But I think that if we had known for real, what was on the other side of all of this,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
No, because part of y'all blueprint too is the fabric and the idea of the underdogs.
Yeah.
For us.
It was before.
Like,
Yep.
way before the
Yeah.
underdogs. You know what I'm saying?
and where they got the concept from, obviously, was Puff and Hitman. That's really where they got the concept from. You know what I mean?
With Noontime, yeah.
When Noontime got the concept, you know, they had J Dub and Dent, and J Dub and Dent were co-managed by Puff. You know, this is the late 90s.
yeah.
And they basically went up there and saw how Puff was running his shit and was like, oh, we're gonna kind of duplicate that.
Yeah.
And then they got Teddy and they got Jazzy, K-Fam, and you know, Chris's brother Kevin Hicks, who played guitar on all the records.
All the records, yeah.
And then I came in the mix in the middle of all that. You know, John Tate was a part of it, working with Teddy Bishop. The twins were working with Dub. It was just an interesting.
Everybody, yeah.
The 112 was coming down there at the time. I mean, Duran was working down there. It was just a really interesting time in the late '90s with that company. You know, what I'm saying?
y'all were really an artist away.
One artist away.
Your own artist.
And what's crazy is, right, all executives, so we say executives, okay, we talked about the partners, but we talk about the, you know, God bless, Shakir Stewart.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
talk about Jaha Johnson. We talk about Jarrell Allen. We talk about people who were, you know, instrumental in that situation. Ryan Glover, who was a
Yes.
partner, who
Absolutely.
now owns
Absolutely.
a Greenwood Bank, who's popping. You know what I mean? It's just
out of control. Yeah.
I wish that, you know, we had the presence of mind at that time. But of course, you never know what's on the other side. You just kind of
Yeah.
go.
But what a
you know I mean?
starting ground.
What a fucking starting ground, bro. You know, you had people like, you know, Block was coming down,
Flock.
freaking T.I. was coming, and you know, it was just an interesting.
Because y'all also did many genres of music.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the other thing. Like
Yes.
with us with the Underdogs, it was very
very
much so R&B
R&B
and pop.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was.
We
You
saw
know what I'm
everybody
saying?
from Rick Ross,
like
Trick
y'all
Daddy,
yeah.
to
Y'all was doing
Tank and
everything, yeah.
Aaliyah and
Everything.
Genuine. It was just an ill combination
Jim
of people.
Crow,
Jim
nigga,
Crow,
any day.
and then it was just an ill. Jim Crow's where we get Polo to Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
y'all was a one-stop shop.
it was just an ill combination of. I mean, do you remember when? What's my man from Hootie and the Blowfish was down there?
Darius.
Darius?
Darius Rucker
Rucker.
was there.
Yeah.
Darius Rucker came. You was there.
Because
I was there.
he pulled
You
up
were
on, he
there.
pulled up on us too. Early Underdog days when
Early
it was,
on, this is
when
what-
it was just me, Damon, and Harvey.
Yeah, Darius
He
Rucker
was looking for that R&B.
Yeah, he was doing
yeah.
like an
Yeah.
R&B Stevie type thing,
Yeah.
and it was crazy because Hump, Hump.
Wow.
I'll
Where's
never
he
forget-
at?
Hump's doing like TV film shit. Like
No, I didn't know that.
he's killing it. Yeah.
Okay,
Hump's
dope,
doing it.
dope.
So Hump, I remember Darius Rucker had a deal with Budweiser,
Oh, I heard about that.
and the fucking 18-wheeler, Budweiser 18-wheeler pulled up at noontime, and niggas was drinking beer for like 5 months, bro. It was crazy.
Five
It was-
months.
It was the craziest shit I ever.
I was expecting 5 days.
Yeah, it was. We had
you
so
know,
much
when
beer.
you got
bro.
that deal, though.
truck pull
Yeah,
up.
the
It just-
truck,
yeah.
the 18-wheeler pulled up, and he was like, "Yeah, man, just drop it off." I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, I never
Does
seen.
beer get old? I don't drink beer.
No, niggas was. I don't know.
I don't know.
Niggas
It's
was
in the
drinking.
can.
was drinking for,
It's in the
for 5
can.
months.
Yeah, it's in the can.
Niggas was drinking it.
Anything in the can don't get
Anything in
old?
the can, I think it's got a long shelf life.
Shit.
Not like my plastic bottles of Sprite.
Yeah,
Thanks, Sprite. Thanks.
Thanks.
2 years supply of Sprite expired in 6 months. Thanks.
Maybe less.
Appreciate that.
He's trying to give it away.
B Cox, man, man, you're shit. You're one of the greatest.
Man, I appreciate you guys, man.
And
You know,
we gotta turn back the hands of time.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Really get to it.
establish how you got here. Like when does B Cox happen? When does somebody say, this kid is special? Or when do you say to yourself, I've found my purpose? Like talk
Take
to
us back to
about-
H-Town.
we have Houston, man.
Yeah.
You know, I
Take
think
us back.
that
Take us back.
ultimately, I've always wanted to be a producer. I never understood what it really meant, but I knew that whatever Quincy Jones did was important. Whatever Teddy Riley did was important. Whatever Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did was important. Whatever Elaine Bayface did was important. And these were the names I was seeing on the back of my favorite albums and favorite. We talk about credits all the time. I'm a credit reader. I'm a, people call me a music encyclopedia. I know things that I shouldn't know, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's because I studied these records. My mother was an avid record buyer. My aunts were.
Your mother
everybody.
and your aunt that I met at the brunch.
Yes,
your
my
brunch
mom. Yes,
are
my
amazing.
Yeah,
And I want to say hello. I want to say hello. Because I was at the table with her.
You was there, that's right. You
Yeah,
sat there with my
yeah,
mom,
yeah.
that's right.
Amazing women.
So my mom was just into music, heavy. My mom loved music, and I get my love of music from her and my aunts and my uncles. You know what I mean? And they would buy records. I'm saying like specific. Every one of my aunts had different styles, like different things that they liked, right? So when you're young, right, and you're growing up in a big family and you spend time with all your different family members, you get all this experience from different things, right? So like my Auntie Jack, who passed away a few years ago, her particular style of music was very eclectic. Like she would listen to things like Journey, Asia, Hall & Notes, but then Shalimar was one of their favorite groups. Earth, Wind & Fire was one of their favorite groups. I mean, so she might have been the most eclectic record collector. Like my first time ever hearing Donald Fagen's Nightlife record was because she had it, and I didn't even know who Donald Fagen was, and I had to find out that he was a member of Steely Dan, and that she had Steely Dan records, and she was the one telling me all these different things.
You're talking a lot of talk right
Yeah,
now.
like the whole other thing,
Real
right?
music talk.
Yeah.
She was the one that told me all these different things, right? My mom was just really into like super like, early on, like, funk, boogie, you know what I mean? So that translates from, you get Parliament Funkadelic to when it translates to boogie, that goes to Kashif and goes to what Leon Silvers was doing and things of that nature. And my mother also was really into fusion. So like Herbie Hancock funk, that she wasn't really into Herbie's like super jazz shit, but it was like when it got to Chameleon and when it got to records like Headhunters and Feet Don't Fail Me Now and things like that.
Yeah,
My mom was
yeah.
really into that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that was what really, really, like, I was to my mom's. I was with her a lot. So a lot of that music shaped, like my mom loved D-Train and loved things like that in the early 80s. Like I feel like the most dense era of music for my mom was like 1979 to like 1983. Right? So you have... I was exposed to a lot of music during those years, and I was very young. I was like, between the ages of 79, I might have been 1, going on 2. So from 2 to like 6, there was a lot of music that was a lot of information that was being
Just absorbed.
You just sponge.
Yeah, just because.
When did you start playing?
I started playing when I was 6. So what
By
happened
this time,
was-
you're already hearing it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I've heard it, but then I went to go live with my grandparents. Right, my grandparents are from Bahamas and Miami. I went back to Miami. I was born in Miami with my mom. My mom moved to Houston in 79.
Okay.
So I was born in Miami in 77. My mom moved to Houston in 79. Then I moved back to Miami to live with my grandparents when I was 5 or 6. Right, and my grandparents are, my grandfather's a Pentecostal minister. So then I have all this.
There it goes.
I have all this information.
Yeah.
Right. Then now I go to church.
All the secular.
Oh yeah, all the
information?
secular information was already there, right? And now I got to go back and I got to go to church because my grandfather's not having it.
Not having.
You know what I'm saying? We're not listening to nothing. It's really
It's a culture shock.
a culture shock. It's Mahalia Jackson. It's I'm talking about old James Cleveland. I'm talking about
James
old
Cleveland, I was
time.
gonna say, yeah.
But now you're
Gospel,
getting. But now you're
right?
getting the root
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not knowing at the time.
of
I'm
all
just-
the things that we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like my grandfather, he wasn't even with the new. My grandfather wasn't rocking with like
The John
the
P.
whinings
Keys
and
and all.
all
Yeah,
that.
none of that. None of that.
My grandfather's from Ackland Island, Bahamas, man. Like that, he
Tradition.
So,
Okay.
and my grandmother's the same, right? So, now I'm in church, and you gotta do something, right? So let me tell you what's interesting, right? There's a guy, y'all may know him. He's an amazing musician. He's put out a couple records now, but he used to play with the Roots. His name is Raymond Angry, right? Ray Angry.
Okay, so Raymond Angry is one of my guys.
Okay, so let me explain something to you about Ray,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Ray and I grew up in the same church atmosphere. Church got a prophecy, right? His father was well respected and was like a person who took me in as like a nephew and this, that, and the third. And Ray was way older than us. You know what I mean? Ray might have been, if I was like 6 or 7, Ray might have been 15 or 14, something like that, right? And Ray, y'all call him Ray, but me and Kendrick, my cousin Kendrick Dean, we call him Sebastian. That's his name.
Wow.
Because he's Ray Angry Jr. So at church, his dad's Big Ray, we called him Sebastian. So I know him as Sebastian. And Ray Angry is the first person that I ever saw that made me want to play piano. Like for real. Like he was
Listen, that's nuts.
no, for real. He was one of those people. He was like an anomaly. Like
He was a
just-
superstar
like,
keyboard
At 14 though.
at 14.
Yeah.
Organ, ridiculous. Like he was the best already.
Oh, he's cold. He was the best.
You know what I'm saying?
He was cold.
He was the best already.
He's
right?
the first person I seen move his hips while playing keyboard, 2 keyboards at the same time. At Rankin
Yeah.
Chapel at Howard University. And he was smashing.
Yeah. Ray
We
Angry was-
all the keyboards like this.
Yeah.
He's dancing.
No.
He's dancing. Oh,
No.
that's forbidden. You can't.
Not the way he was dancing.
No, Ray was different.
Oh, he's like,
Different. And we were kids. Me and Kendrick were little and was just always in awe of him. And he would always let us sit by him. You know, he would.
He was rocking with y'all. Y'all was his.
And he would
That was
we
his
just
guy.
sit behind him and we just, you know what I mean? Sit behind him and watch him. You know what I mean? And that I always, and it's crazy because I hadn't thought about this in a long time. To me and my mother was talking about this recently and I hadn't thought about it in a while. My mom was like, Sebastian, like that's where it started for you. And I remember my grandmother put me in piano lessons because of him.
I did not know we had that in common.
Yep. I've known him since I
I
was
learned
little.
a gang of stuff from Raymond.
I've known him since I was a little guy.
I was in high school. He was at Howard University killing everything.
He was
Shy, all of them was
Yeah.
up there. Like
yeah.
Chris
That's the
Daddy,
era.
Dave,
That was
all-
the era. Yeah, that was the era. Yeah.
Everybody was up
Yeah,
there, and
that
we
was
was
the era.
kids from high school. We were the singing kids from high school
Yeah.
that would come up to Howard University and sing at all the
Yeah.
church functions and all that. We was like the best group. You know what I'm saying? And we was high school kids, and Raymond Angry was like one of our heroes. Every time he got on the keyboards, it was him, and then another guy named Marlon Saunders who would
Yeah.
get on the
Marlon
drums.
Saunders, yeah.
And what's our other guy? Gordon.
Oh, Gordon Chambers?
Gordon Chambers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Gordon Chambers was like Jesus to
Of course,
us.
of course.
Him and Raymond Angry. It was like this.
Yeah.
When they get on the instruments,
It's a rap. Hey, yo. Yes, man.
It was like
Yes.
gods to us. We just watched them in awe and just, well, how did you, what
did you
doing
do?
right here? Like, why your fingers is, don't,
No, Raymond was. I mean, he was one of those people that we couldn't wait to be around Sebastian. It was like,
That's
you know,
crazy.
and because we spent so much time over at their house, you know, like they said, you know,
family.
Big Ray really brought us in, and, but like we spent a lot of time because Kendrick's grandfather, his grandfather and my grandfather. His grandfather was the pastor of the church. His grandfather was the pastor of the church. My grandfather was one of the associate pastors and like, you know, been to being a bishop and basically was like really involved. They were like best friends and, you know, just really, really a ill connection. And of course, Ray's dad was like literally so involved with the church and they involved all the kids in the church. So these are things that, you know, when I was in Miami living with my grandparents, there was a major shift in my life, right?
Yeah.
And then my mother comes and gets me, and I go back to Houston, but I would go to Miami every summer. So you go to Miami, you know, vacation Bible school, you go to, you know what I mean? You do the whole, like literally, I was getting a proper like balance. Right? Because I would come back, I would go to Houston, I would come back to Houston with my mom and my aunts, and, you know, they was outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my mom and my aunties was
And you
outside.
going to school in Houston?
I was going. I went to elementary school for 2 years in Miami, but then for the rest of my time, it was in Houston. So when I would when I would go to Houston for school, my mom and them was outside, bro. Thursday nights at the club. I mean, they was outside, and my mom every week would go to the record store. There's a record store in Houston called Sound Waves. She'd go to the record store every week, get new records. So we get, you know, all the new shit. So she was up on the new shit. My aunts all up on the new shit. And I was the person that was like in the middle of it all. Like that was my interest. Like none of my cousins were interested in it. That was my interest. Like what new records you getting this week? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then,
And how old are you at this point?
so I would say, I mean, it's happening at a very young age. I remember specifically, this is crazy. I remember specifically, I have a really wild memory and I have to be, at this point, I might have been 6, right? And my mother came home with a stack of records, yo. I'll never forget it. It was Kashif's first album, Prince 1999, freaking Spiral Gyra, Yellow Jacket's second album. It was like a bunch of just different styles of records, right? And it's got to be like 83, 84. And my mom we were just going through the records, and that was like, it's like Gap Band 5, jamming the record with Party Train, and and then listening to these records, I was always entranced with how these records were made. And there's a record on Gap Band 5 specifically called "I'm Ready." That's like, this record to this day is like one of the most amazing records to me. It's like, I don't know if you guys even know this record, but it's like a super album cut, but it's a smash.
I don't know the record.
It's like a record that really should have been a single.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
to this day, like
It's one of those I would probably
it's
have
like
to
one of
hear
the
it
records like
to-
you have to hear,
yeah.
you're gonna be like, why wasn't this song a single? Like it was one of them kind of things. And for me, I always prided myself at finding those, like listening to whole albums and finding records that was kind of like that nobody listened to that I liked. You know what I mean? And I would attach myself to. You know what I mean? And like, I want to learn this song. I want to play this song. I want to sing this song. I want to, you know what I mean? So there was a record like on Earth, Wind & Fire's Power Light album that Annie Shirley used to make me sing all the time. This record called Straight From the Heart that was written by Philip and Eddie Del Barrio.
I know that record.
And it was like the last song on side A, and it was like, you know, such a random ass. It's like, almost like there's a record on Earth, Wind & Fire's 77 album called, All in All, called I write a song for you. Straight from the Heart is like part 2 of that song.
Didn't know that.
Right. If you listen to
Yeah,
both songs, it's like this is a continuation of that song, right? And like music was such a major part of
Obviously.
like, like
Right now, you going there.
like music was such a major part of like everything in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I always tell people like the first birthday gift I ever got, when I turned 6 in '83, the first birthday gift I got was a Rick James album. It was Cold Blooded. My mom bought me Cold Blooded.
Shout out to your mama, man.
I still have that album.
I knew I liked it from the Brunch. Now I love it even more.
No, literally, that was the first album I ever got in my life.
James?
She bought me for my 6 years old, bro.
Yeah, I know what my son
6 years old.
Mom's was outside.
Mom's was outside. They was outside.
I bought this for us.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. But she bought me the
Happy
Rick
birthday,
James Cold Blooded album. I'll never forget it. You know, I remember opening the album. I remember, her writing my name on the album, opening the album, pulling the credits out, and it was black and the Gordy label. I remember everything about it. You know what I'm saying? I remember dropping the needle on certain records and, like Ebony Eyes and, Mary Had a Pimp and records like that. You know what I mean? I'm 6 years old, bro.
Mary Had a Pimp.
This is great.
Mary Had a B-I-M-P. Yeah.
Because she did.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, but I remember being in Amber with the sound of Cold Blooded. Like, why do those drums sound like that? Like, what is that? What is about that record that makes it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my mom was a huge Prince fan also. So she had every Prince album. And I remember, like I said, 1999, I remember she bought 1999. I remember opening the album and the eye on the album. And I remember everything about the process of it. And I remember they went to the concert. It was a triple threat concert. I remember them like, we're going to Carmen. Aunt is getting ready. I remember this shit vividly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is like, as a kid, like, why do I remember this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was something that was out. This was something I was supposed to do.
When the music is in you, it's going to, like, when you have those moments where the music is tapping into some, I don't even know what to call it, but when the music is calling you in a certain way, or trying to get your attention, there's always a moment in time that you can connect to that, no matter how small you are. Mm-hmm. I have so many of those moments. I have moments like a moment where I'm sitting there watching my uncle get dressed. He getting ready to go out on a date. And he's just, every time he goes from his room to the bathroom, he giving me some more game. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you shave. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got to shave for him. They like the
He really talking to himself.
He really,
but you there.
I'm
like giving it to you. Yeah.
I'm a kid.
Yeah.
Like, and he's got magic shave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's some 80s. That's some real
that's the real.
You got to hurry up and get that off your face.
You got to hurry. Before your face burn off, right?
You can't be fucking around.
He doing that, and then he got the smell good, and then you got to make sure you smell good. You know what I'm saying? Nephew, you got to make sure you have all. But all I hear in the background is, let the sideshow begin.
Yeah.
Hurry, step right on in.
Yeah, he got that shit.
I can see it. I can see me sitting at my grandmother's kitchen table and watching him walk back and forth.
And he's setting the tone. He's setting the mood for it. The night gonna be for him. So he got the music going. He's like, nigga, I'm about to get, you know what I mean?
He's getting dressed to the music.
It's about to go down.
It's about to
Y'all don't know
it's the soundtrack to
the night. You have no idea what's about to happen. I'm about to, you know what I mean?
But this music is prepping it for, I'm stuck for some reason.
I wonder if the young fellas even get, you know what I mean? Are y'all getting right to the, you know what I mean? You feel me?
Great question,
you feel me?
It's a great question, man. That's a great question. Like, and that's the thing we talk about.
Like, I still get dressed to music.
Yeah, I have to.
I still do.
I have to. It's just a part of whatever, especially if I'm doing something specific. Mm-hmm. If I'm like, yo, I'm about to go out with this chick, or I'm about to do something specific. I'm like, yo, I'm about to put this on. I'm about to get in the shower. I'm about to get my shit together. While the music playing, got my little Bluetooth playing. I got the playlist going. Like
my son do though. My son get dressed to music though, which I love.
Yeah.
You know, you can hear it from his room.
Yeah. But we come from, that era of when it was literally a soundtrack. It was literally, think about it, dog. The records were part of albums were part of the furniture, bro. Like it was part of the living room.
Literally.
You know, you had to have like furniture specifically to put your albums in.
Yeah.
That was in the living room,
100%.
and it was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like a part of the
It was a thing. It was it.
process.
It was part of the living room. You said it.
Yeah, it's like, yo,
That
It
and the
just-
big spoon and fork.
yeah, exactly, right?
And the plastic that covered the furniture you wasn't supposed to sit on.
All of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, I feel like we had a different kind of attachment,
Connection to music.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to our music back then. You know
When
what I
did
mean?
you first get your first sequencer?
Okay. So I don't know if this it counts. It counts. Because even though it wasn't a professional like sequencer, it was what my mother could afford at the time, right? And it wasn't promoted like a sequencer. I just figured out it was a sequencer in the midst of me, like, you know, you got a keyboard and you just kind of like fucking with it and you're trying to figure it out. My mother bought me a Yamaha PSR 500, right?
PSR 500.
So these keyboards, Yamaha used to make these keyboards that were like consumer keyboards called Portasound keyboards, right? And so okay, granted, equipment was super expensive,
For sure.
right? Forever and ever and ever. Back in the day, you know what I mean? You know, you couldn't, a Synclavier was like $50,000. You know what I mean? Like, so what companies started doing when they started making consumer-based like instruments, you know what I mean? And
Versions of
yeah.
yeah.
And Yamaha was one of the first to make a consumer, you know, something you could buy service merchandise or, you know, random, you know, like at a department store. They were one of the first to do it. And PSR 500, I think my keyboard was like, it might have been $700, like $600, something like that. You know what I mean?
Which was a lot back then.
A lot of money.
Hell yeah,
back
that's
then,
a lot of
right?
money.
So for my mom to drop $600 or $700 on a keyboard, it's like, okay, nigga, you better.
You better,
You know what I mean?
you better show out.
Right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't have been no more than, at the time when I got the keyboard, I might have been 11.
Oh yeah.
Right?
$700 keyboard for 11-year-old.
And I remember just breaking down this keyboard, breaking it down, like reading the manual, breaking it down. And what happens is that they had four preset beats in the keyboard. So like basically showing you the sounds. It would give you like whatever. So in these 4 presets, I figured out a way where you can erase the presets and make your own sequences.
And you wasn't supposed to do that.
No.
Because this was just kind of like
It was supposed to be
It's a demo.
a
It was a
demo.
demo.
Yeah.
It was a demo.
Yeah.
It was you get a keyboard as
Yeah.
a demo. It was a demo, but I was like, nah, let's figure out. And it was a way you could erase the demo, and you couldn't save it, right?
Ah.
You couldn't save
But you were
it.
practicing.
But what I would do is I would just make tracks, because I had the shit hooked up to a little tape deck. Make tracks, put that shit on the track on
Record it onto there.
on the tape. Make 4 tracks, erase. Make 4 new tracks, erase. Make the 4, and if something
Ingenuity.
and if something stuck, right? Something that was like, oh, this is really good, right? Then I would say, okay, if I had to make it again, I would make it again to see if I could do it again or do it better, right? And you don't even know that you're actually fine tuning. I didn't even know I was fine tuning.
your hours
You
in.
know what I mean?
Producer, yeah.
I'm just like, okay, can I make this track again? You know what I'm saying? And what happened was, in the short term, I would, you know, when you're young and you want, you know, at this point I might have been maybe 13 or 14 when this happened, 13. And we want to sing in groups, you know, where I've been in church and all that, you know, everybody want to start doing groups was popping, Shy was out, Boys to Men's out, everybody, you know what I mean? So everybody want to start having groups. So I was in a group, you know what I mean? And I was like the music guy in the group, you know
You
what I
was
mean?
Devontae.
I was, the Devontae or the Teddy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, there was a friend of ours. So I was in a group with my best friends at the time, Scooby, Troy Clark, and his brother Trevor. And they knew this guy, right, who was in a group called Groove You. I don't know if you guys you may remember this group. They were signed to Atlantic Records, a group called Groove You. Troy Taylor wrote and produced their first single, a song called Old Becomes the New. They were from Houston, right? The guy in the group, his name was Teron Mitchell. And I went to school with his sister, right, Lori. And my friends, they knew him. They were in a group before that he was kind of like developing. So they told him about me. Like, oh, it's this kid, this guy we're working with, Brian or whatever. And Lori told him about me. Lori's in a group with my cousin Talia. So it was like interesting. Houston was an interesting place at that time because it was like all these groups popping up. Girls' Time was popping. This is pre-Destiny Child. So Girls' Time was popping. All these groups are popping up. You know what I mean? And
are y'all going to school together too?
We all know each other.
Okay.
In an interesting way because there was this thing that kind of brought us together called the People's Workshop. So the People's Workshop was like where all these kids will come and compete and like, between People's Workshop and AXO and things of that nature, kids started knowing each other through these competitions. That's actually how I met Robert Glasper. Okay, through the People's Workshop. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that too. T, Teron Mitchell, he hears some of the songs or some of the tracks I was making. He was like, "Oh, you making tracks? I'm gonna come over to your house." Now T had like an ASR 10, all kind of shit at his house. You know what I mean?
Cooking.
He had the shit. He was cooking with grease, right?
Yeah.
But here's my tracks. He's like, "Yo, man, what you working on?" I was like, "I got this little keyboard." He's like, "You making all that on that shit?" It's like, "Come to my house." So I go to his house and he shows me his ASR 10 and shows me all. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is some." That was like. That shit blew my mind.
SR10 is the next level.
You know what I mean? I completely blew my mind, right? And he kind of took us under his wing and was like, yo, boom, they were signed to Atlantic at the time. So he would go to New York, they make their records, this, that, and the third, and he would come back and he would play us these records, and I don't think that he even knew, or maybe he knew that what kind of energy he was putting into me personally. Because I would hear these records, I'm like, damn, my records don't sound like that. How can I make my records sound like that? You know what I mean? So he was working with people like Troy Taylor. They was working with Gordon had done a bunch of stuff on them.
They had a real budget.
Yeah, they had a budget. Yeah. Craig was spending money on them. You know what I'm saying? They at the time they went in with like with Kenny Smooth and all these. They were making some records. You know what I mean? Then they made some records with a young Donnell Jones. This is before Donnell was. Donnell was just a producer at Untouchables. And he would come back, T would come back with these demos like, yo, Donnell wrote us another one. Play us some, like, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I'd be like, yo, I got to get my records to sound like this. You know what I mean? In the midst of this, I meet who would end up becoming like my main mentor for many years, Greg Curtis. In the midst of
You said Greg Curtis?
Greg Curtis.
I know Greg Curtis.
So in the midst of all this happening with me, T, and my group, and this, that, and the third, T was managed by this guy named Abby Lamar. And Abby Lamar was Akeem Olajuwon's cousin. He was the one that made the deal at Atlantic, but he was also managing Greg Curtis. So T takes me to Abby's office with my keyboard. My keyboard has speakers in it, so I just bring my keyboard to the fucking office.
Play your shit.
And T was like, yo, man, press play on Abby. So I press play on him. Abby's like, there's African to like, oh shit, oh that's coming out of the keyboard. Oh, I'm gonna call Greg now. He calls Greg. He's like, Greg, you gotta come up here, nigga. You gotta come up here. This little nigga he got a little keyboard with speakers on his niggas playing. He's just going crazy, right? So then Greg pulls up. Greg actually comes to now for us, now you understand, for me, I was going to HSPVA at the time. I was in high school. I was going to HSPVA, which is the same school Greg graduated from years before. Secondly, for us, Greg Curtis was already a legend in the city.
Right.
From a gospel perspective, he wrote Just a Prayer Away for Yolanda Adams. He literally had been, on tour with everybody from Keith Sweat to Blackstreet to Tony.
Yeah.
Like he was like the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was just like,
He's
so he's like, Greg is coming to the office. I'm like bugging, like, oh shit, Greg is coming to the office. You know what I mean? Greg comes to the office and I press play on him. He's like, that's coming out of that? He's like, okay, get in the car with me right now. So I take my keyboard, get in the car with him, I go to his house. Greg has this like wow studio in his crib. And he's like, yo, I'm going to literally show you how to really do this. He literally showed me how to produce. Like from that day forward, I was at his house damn near every day. You know what I mean? Like literally.
What was his setup?
He had he was about the shit. Greg had, back in those days, everybody was using drum machines like MPCs and
SP12 and all. Yeah.
He was different. He had the fucking Mac. He had a Mac this is in the mid 90s. He had a Mac with Performer. Not even digital Performer. This before it was a regular Performer with the Motu, interface, the whole, like the bridge. He had 2 D88s. He had some outboard reverb, the delay stuff, going on. But he had the 880, the 1080, the SE1. But what was ill was that he had the shit he had everything programmed in his computer. The patches were in his computer. So if I wanted to go to a 9-line guitar, I could just go to the computer and do it. And this was now the shit sounds regular. But in 1994, that shit was
not regular.
Some most incredible shit ever. That you could pull up a patch on, you know what I mean, on the computer and actually make an 8-bar sequence and do it was ill, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he basically at that point was like, "Yo, you with me?" Took him in his wing and taught me everything that I needed to know before I came to Atlanta, right?
Damn.
So check, right? In the midst of all of this, my senior year of high school happens. 95, become a senior in high school. Orientation. Who fucking walks in? Orientation. Fucking Beyonce and LaToya. Walking. Orientation, right? Because they're freshmen at our high school, okay? So it's been talk about them. We knew who they were from People's Workshop, but now it's been talk about them because they, got signed, or they was about to get signed to Columbia, and it was talk about them, right? But I hadn't seen them since they was 10 or 11 at this point.
When it was girls' time.
14, yeah. 13, 14 at this point. I'm 17.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They walk. Beyonce's a grown ass woman. She walks in. Niggas at the school is going crazy. Niggas at the school going yo, I know you don't know them. I was like, I do know them.
Yo, that freshman that just,
Niggas at the school are losing their
You think
mind.
I could do 2 more years here?
Niggas at school losing their mind, right? But I already knew them the whole nine, so we get to talking, and of course, there's always a common thread. We came up together in that People's Workshop vibe. So she tells me yo, hey man, we going to Sacramento. We're working with Dwayne Wiggins. You know what I mean? So basically, that period when they were doing those records with Dwayne, I was running my mom's phone bill up. Because basically I was calling them yo, play some over the phone. I was just trying to get any little bit of information that I could get. And I mean, I knew them, Beyonce, Kelly, LaTavia, LaToya, I knew them well. So they were, we have a call, hey, Brian, listen to this song. They played, Human Nature. They played, Second Nature. They played those regular records. They played songs. And I'm just like, oh man, I got to fucking figure this out. It was like a thing, it became a mad dash, almost like a race to figure it out.
Because you keep hearing these new levels of music.
Yeah.
And you're like.
But that are people that are connected to him,
that
too.
I know directly.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same friend group, same
age group. But I'm like, I have to figure that. I gotta figure this out.
We've all been there where it's like, you think you're doing something, and then you hear the next level. And you're like, you know what? They about to ask me to play these records. I'm gonna say I ain't got it yet. I'm gonna say right? I ain't bring nothing, man. I just came to hang out.
Yeah, CD been skipping. It's been skipping the whole time. I ain't even.
You know when you're not on the level.
Yeah.
Or you should.
You should know.
Because I've been in rooms where somebody didn't know and they still wanted to play it because they got excited. Yeah. And I always looked at them for those records.
Listen, I always.
That's very tough.
Jay, that's where I learned the biggest lesson. When I would hear these records, I'm like, I'm not ready yet. And I would say to myself, like, you're not ready, right? So what happened was I had a crazy breakthrough, right? One day, Beyonce calls me, or one of the girls, either Beyonce or LaToya, one of them called me, like, hey, we told Matthew about the song. I would pester them, like, yo, hey, come in the room, practice room. I got another song. I'm playing songs for them. Because I was one of the only people that really knew that their deal was done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like a rumor.
But they still going to school.
They were still going to school. But I was like one of the only people that knew that the deal was actually finished, right? And they let me know that. So I would always hound them like, I got another song, you know. And then one day I got a call. I was like, hey, we want to come do that song, whatever song you were singing. We want to come do that song. I was like, okay. So I'm calling Greg and calling T and like, hey, they want to come do songs, you know, whatever. So they came and we did 2 songs together. We did a song called Sweetie Pie and we did a song called Hey DJ, right? And I think Greg actually still has the song still. I believe he still has them. Because if he does, I'm pretty sure he does. Because Greg is good with keeping shit. I'm pretty sure he does. So we made the songs, and I will never forget this because this was the day that I knew. I was like, okay, I'm fuck being in a group, fuck being, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
Writer and producer.
I remember it vividly. It was like, okay, you know, when you have a space where you're like, okay, I'm in a group and we're trying to figure it out, but I want to write for this person. But it was like when I had this session, it was like, yeah, nah, this is it. Like I don't want to be performer. I don't want to do none of that.
What was
shit.
it about the session? Was it the way that the music turned out? Was it?
It was the way it turned out, but it was also the way that they were like, as you threw something out at them, the way they was giving it back.
They're professionals.
I had never experienced that. It was Beyonce and Kelly in the studio, and I never experienced giving giving somebody something, like a line or giving them something, and they give it back to me in a way it was like, oh, that shit was perfect. You know what I mean? Like it was like I never produced, like, you know, you're producing, we in a group and you're producing yourselves and, you know, you don't really, you know, I thought I knew what I was doing, you know what I mean? But, you know, we just trying shit,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To give instruction and to hear it back the way that it was coming back to me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, everything they was doing, I'm like, wait a second. And what's ill is I would tell people all the time, like, these girls were way advanced. Like, they were so advanced. It was just, I had never experienced anything like that. Like, I was like, okay, all right. First of all, these girls are going to be superstars. That was the first thing. Second thing, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. Because if I'm able to throw something out at somebody and they give it back to me the way that these people are giving it back to me, then I don't need to be singing. Because
I'm not doing
they
that.
got it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, it's not like Beyonce and Kelly got it. Like, I ain't got it.
But being able to identify that is a gift in itself.
So, fast forward, when I started coming to Atlanta, I remember coming to Atlanta.
What made you come to Atlanta?
Oh man,
Was it college or just to come to Atlanta?
No, it was a girl.
Yeah.
It was a lady.
Real R&B is
followed,
you.
R&B.
You followed your heart, brother.
Follow my heart,
Real
bro.
R&B is
R&B
you.
Yeah,
nigga
look at
throwing
you
through,
now.
baby.
Look at you now.
I mean, I'm sure you're not with her anymore, but you know.
Yeah, but she's still a great friend. We're still cool.
Yeah.
She's
Hey,
still,
Leon.
she still gets.
Did she get royalties?
Nah. But no, it's crazy. Recently, we had a reconnection recently. She came to the Usher show and we talked about this, and I was like, I had to give her a props. Like, hey, you know, like, I wouldn't have came to Atlanta if it weren't for you. I came because of you. Because I was going to New York.
But she lived in Atlanta, and you were
No,
like, I need to go.
she was in Houston. So here's the deal. I graduated high school and I stayed in Houston for her.
Okay.
Stayed in Houston. I didn't go to college. I went to fucking University of Houston. All that
Stay with your woman.
to stay with my woman.
Yeah.
Because she was a year behind me. You know what I'm saying? She's about to graduate and she gets accepted to all these schools and she's like, I'm going to Atlanta. And I'm like, well, we going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah,
mean?
you going?
Me. You
We.
mean we?
We got accepted in the club.
We going to Atlanta. So I did everything I could to get it. I got
Now
a
you
scholarship,
HBCU.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, got up out of there. We were right to Clark, nigga. I was trying to go to the new school. You know,
Okay.
Rob at Glassboro. Rob graduated, and he was going to the new school. And he introduced me to the dean and everything. And I was talking to her, and I was gonna try to go to the new school.
What is the new school? What is that?
It's the school in Manhattan, the jazz school in Manhattan.
Okay. Oh, you gonna go? Oh, you about to fully be immersed in music?
Yeah, I was gonna go to I was trying to, and he had already, like I said, I already talked to the dean a few times. We were trying to figure it out, and then when she told me she was going to Atlanta, I was like, well, I want to go to New York.
I'll see you, Robert.
I see, going to Atlanta, and ultimately, I remember rationalizing it because I was like, well, I mean, Atlanta's where at the time this is '97, so Atlanta was
cracking.
cracking.
Music is cracking.
So I'm like, it's really a
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense for me to go
makes
there
sense.
because I'll be able to really follow what I'm trying to follow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the only way I get that support from my mom is if I go to school. So I was able to get a partial scholarship at Clark, and I was able to get grants and all kinds of different things, whatever. I had good grades, so it wasn't a problem. And I ended up going to Clark. And I came to Atlanta. And I remember the first thing that I did was I opened up the white pages. This is some, if you guys may not know, this, youngins, y'all don't know about the white pages. Y'all can Google, but back in the day, we didn't have Google. We had the white pages, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And me being an avid credit reader, I knew all the studios in Atlanta. I knew Doppler, I knew DARP, I knew La Coco, I knew Purple Dragon, I knew all the names of the studios. So I just opened up and highlighted all the studios and would just try to get internships, you know what I'm saying? And this is why I was going to school and still doing what I was doing. But I was like, man, I got to get on. And I didn't realize how hard it was to get an internship. You know what I mean? It was like they had all these stipulations. I'm trying to work for free. I got all these stipulations for me to work for free. You know what I'm saying?
To work for free.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of stipulations to get internships. And I remember, I called every place I could call. And then I remember on campus one day, on campus they have all of them.
What's the AUC, right?
Yeah, AUC. Yeah. So they have all of the street promo. Back in the day, it was like street promotions was big.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the posters
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
all
Posters,
the,
yeah.
it was like
Kenny Burns
yeah,
and all the guys.
2620, all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was street promotions was a big deal back then. And I remember seeing a flyer, man. It was a flyer that was like, noontime, music, Hitman, this, that, and the third, boom, boom, and it was like J-Dub, Dent, Teddy Bishop.
On the flyer.
The flyer. K-Fam, boom, we named all the producers, and it was like, yeah, we're doing hits for it. It was like Puff Daddy, Brandy, all these different people. And it was like, if you're looking for banging beats, call this number. And that was on a flyer. It was like on a random ass flyer. And I was like, word? Because I knew what Noontime was because I was aware of J-Dub. I was aware of the work he was doing with Puff and I was aware of K-Fam and Jazzy. They did the LSG shit. Like I already knew what it was. I thought Noontime was in New York. So I didn't realize that Noontime was in Atlanta. So I was kind of tripping like, oh shit, I thought this company was in New York. This shit is here. You know what I mean? So I remember I was like, here's what I'm going to do. Instead of being like a person that's going to call like every day and try to hound every day, I'm going to pick a day and a time. And I'm going to call at this day and time every week. So it's okay, cool. If it's let's say it's a Tuesday at 4:00 p.m., I'm going to call every week, Tuesday, 4:00 p.m. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be a burden. I'm just going to hit them
You
up.
gonna tap in?
Tap in every week. You know what I'm saying? So I tapped in for like maybe a month initially, right? Leave a message, boom, whatever. Finally, there was a woman by the name of April Love, who I know and I love now. Amazingly, by the time I didn't know her, called me back and was like, hey, I got your message, this and a third, internship, whatever. We're going to set up a meeting for this day. Let me call and try to figure it out, whatever. Then it went silent, right? So it went silent, and I started calling again. Tuesday, 4:00, call again. One day I call, and fucking Chris Hicks picks up the phone. Because whatever happened, they were having all of their phones directed to his cell number. So he picks up the phone. And I'm like, oh, so maybe like a couple weeks by nobody picked up the phone. He picked up the phone this time. And I was like, hey. He's like, yeah. I was like, he's like, yeah, this is Chris Hicks. I was like, oh shit. I was like, well, I was trying to call and get a meeting for internship. He was like, oh yeah. He said, April doesn't work for us anymore, so I'll set the meeting up. When can you come? I was like, let me know. I can come right now. He was like, okay, well, let's do it tomorrow, such as time, whatever. Next day I go. He gives me an address. It's not far from the campus. It's literally, so let's say, Clark is on James P. Brawley and Fair Street, right? So he's like, we're on Walker Street, Walker and Fair. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not far. I could walk. You know what I'm saying? So basically walk down Fair. It was a long walk, but I walked down Fair.
I'm going to get there. Yeah.
You're not carrying the keyboard with the speakers no more, though. Okay,
I got a bag full of DATs and shit, but it's not like a keyboard. So I'm walk down Fair, bust a left on Walker, go to the studio, right? And when I go in the studio, the first person I meet is K-Fam, right? So K-Fam is in the studio trying to figure out this chord. He's doing a beat and he's trying to figure this chord out. We're waiting for Chris to come. I'm sitting in the back of the studio. I'm on a couch and it's killing me because I hear the chord.
You hear the chord.
He's trying to figure this chord out. Like, damn, what's this chord? I'm like, I'm sitting like, I know the chord.
I know the chord.
And but I didn't say anything. I'm just thinking it. And then fam looks at me, he's like, hey man, you play? And I was like, yeah. He was like, can you figure this chord out, man? I can't. I was like, oh, got it. And I showed him the chord.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
So I showed him the chord, and he's like, oh man, that's great, man. Thank you, man. And he was using MPC 3000. He programs me playing. He's like, man, thank you, man. I was going crazy trying to figure the chord. I was like, man, I was back here going crazy for you. And then Chris walks in.
Yeah.
Me and Chris have a little bit of a conversation. I'm like, I'm an intern, this and that, third. I know my way around the studio, whatever. And fam says, hey, Chris, man, this kid, man, he got a hell of an ear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to figure a chord out and couldn't hear it, and he heard it, and he played it for me. And Chris was like, well, I'm not looking for no producers right now. It's kind of like very, very kind of like, but I was like, hey, I'm not here trying to be a producer. I just want to get in the room,
building. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember getting in the room and getting in the building, and I was assistant. I was intern initially, then I moved up to assistant engineering. Then I was engineering like for Eric Roberson during this period. And I was doing sessions for him. And then one day, they were paying me. I was getting paid maybe like $150, $200 a session, like nothing crazy, right? But for a college student, amazing, right?
Yeah.
And I saved like maybe $2,000. I remember I did like 10 sessions. I said I had $2,000.
Yeah, I'm rich.
Cash.
I'm rich. He said I'm rich.
Right?
Rich. I'm going to Magic
And
City.
I told
I hope you
Going
can
to
go to
Magic
Magic City.
Go
I
to
told
GC.
Nooney, I was like, hey guys, listen, you guys can stop paying me. Can I just get a key to the studio and the alarm code so I can come in at any time and just kind of really learn my way around the studio. Right now, I'm limited because I'm just kind of just recording, but I want to be able to come in there when nobody's in here working, whatever. And Nooney was like, I ain't got to pay you.
Make this
Key,
nigga
the code is
a key.
Yeah, make this nigga.
Please get this nigga a key. Yeah.
So they made me a key. They gave me the code, and I would just basically any free time I had, while I would go to school. I would do band practice, all this shit, whatever, and then
right back to the studio.
I would be in the studio any free period, anytime I could get. And I didn't know I used a drum machine. I didn't know I used MPC because I learned on Performer.
Yeah.
So you still programming the same way.
So I had to basically
You have to learn. Start over.
how to program.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have any idea how to use a drum machine. You know what I mean? So I remember MPC 3000, they had a help button on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So each little like section you could press help and it would give you a little, brief synopsis of what each thing did. And that's how I started learning. And what happened was Teddy Bishop and Jazzy Faye would come in, right? They, like, let's say I'll be in like the little room teaching myself, and they come in, they, kind of like, I didn't even know, you don't know who's watching. Number one, you never know who's watching you, right? Whatever you're working on, if you're trying to build something, if you're trying to figure your shit out, you never know who's actually watching you and saying, yo, this little motherfucker's really trying to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. Jazzy Faye and Teddy Bishop was watching me. They would come in for their sessions, but before they go into the session, they see me in a little room trying to figure this shit out with the manual open and this, that, and the third. And every time they would come in, something would get better. A loop would get better, a chop would get better, a drum program would get better. So then what happened was they started bestowing upon me knowledge.
Yeah.
So they would come in like, yo, you should do it this way. Maybe you should do boom, boom, boom. They would start teaching me technique.
Now you were worthy.
Right?
You're worthy of that.
So then I'm taking the technique down. Boom. All right. Boom. Taking my notes, applying the technique. And then I'm becoming better as a producer. And then eventually, I'll never forget it. I got a page from Noon, and Noon called me like, yo, like 911. I called. I thought it was like a session. He was like, calling from the payphone. He's like, yo, man, where you at? I said, I'm at school. Nigga. Like, you need me to come to the studio? He said, no, man, I want to talk to you. I want to, Jazzy and Teddy's been really telling me a lot of great things about you, and like, how you really, you're the first person to come to the studio, the last person to leave, and yet you still go to school, you still find out, you still be doing all your stuff you need to do for your scholarship and all those different things. That, man, I feel like, we need to sign you. I don't even know why. He was like, I don't even know what we'll do with you.
Because he hadn't heard the music.
No,
he hadn't heard nothing yet.
Noon had never heard the music. Chris had nobody heard any music. It was literally the word of Jazzy and Teddy.
Wow.
Literally. Nobody heard no music. It was just kind of like, yo,
Something about this kid.
Something about this kid that we need to invest in. And we need to do it now.
Yes.
Because eventually he's going to get really good and we're gonna lose
And
him.
he'll find his way. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and they made a deal, and I was like,
When did you do this? What year did you do this deal?
this was 98, early 98.
So in about a year's time.
About a year,
About a year's time.
Not even. Because I got to Atlanta August of 97. I moved to Atlanta for band camp and all that shit, August 97. So it was like March.
Oh, you was really figuring that shit
Yeah,
out.
yeah, 9 months.
Like literally, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I think Noon was just really impressed with the fact that I was like, no, I'm going to be here. Well, I was there when they got there. I was there when they left. And I still was going to school, and niggas was asking my transcript, and I still was making good grades. He was just like, how the fuck you doing all this shit? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, yo, like, I ain't got nothing but time.
Right,
Like, what am I?
it was your life.
I have 24 hours this day. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to do my schoolwork. I'm going to go do my band practice. I'm going to do what I got to do. And,
and I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was always available, and every time I was available, I learned something new. So I learned a new technique, and I was better at engineering, better at whatever they needed me to do. So I just think that he was just like, yo, like, nah, let's get this kid. And I remember we did a deal. They gave me a check for $7,500.
$7,500.
You know what I'm saying?
Hundo. It was more than that 150 you was getting.
It was more than that. I got a check for $7,500, and I was off to the races.
What is your first placement?
My first placement, ironically, first placement, it didn't come out though, but I did a remake of Overjoyed for the group Profile.
Profile, absolutely. Remember Profile.
Wow. Profile.
So you didn't land anything on Destiny's Child.
No.
You just cut some records.
I cut some records, and because we had like a discrepancy. That wasn't my discrepancy. It was discrepancy with Greg and Greg's attorney. Excuse me, was a discrepancy that they had, and because they ended up playing the song on the radio or some shit in Houston, and Greg was like, "Well, they're playing a song on the radio, they got to pay us," and then it turned into it turned into some wild shit after that. But me being that young, I had no understanding
and no control over it.
Yeah, no understanding, no control over what, how you deal in relationships. I don't think that at that point, I'm not quite sure if Greg understood how important that relationship would have ended up being, because they were just
knew.
local.
Nobody knew. Yeah.
Local artists signed to Columbia. Nobody. We ain't got paid. What's up with that? What's up with the money?
Yeah.
Right.
Hindsight's 2020.
Right.
We would have let that shit fly.
Let it
Yeah,
ride.
it would have still been streaming to this day.
Exactly.
Let that ride, bro.
But at the time, I just think that you
That's
didn't
hard
know.
to see.
They had no way. You got to have proper vision. I would have let it fly because I was there. I was their age, so I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're, Greg and them were older, they were wiser in that space, had been in the business a little longer.
So the first placement is Profile.
Yeah. So
a remix.
I'm sorry, no. I take it back. No, I take it back. That was not the first placement. The very first placement was Sam Salter. I did so me and Greg T and my boy Scooby did a remix for Sam Salter, a song called "It's On Tonight." It was the name of his album initially, and then he put a single out called "It's On Tonight," and we did a remix called "It's Getting Late." It's on tonight. It's getting late, and that was the first placement, first 12-inch single that my name was ever like on. Like you buy a 12-inch single, you can see my name on the back of the 12-inch single. It was the first time it ever happened. I didn't get paid, but it was the first time I got a credit.
You didn't get paid at all.
Nah.
Okay.
But understandably, if the remix, if Greg had to pay out of his pocket studio time, and it was like $5,000. It wasn't even a whole lot of paper.
Yeah.
Right.
You live in L.A. He probably was at Enterprise. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what.
Yeah.
You don't know. I understanding record costs and all that now. I'm like, oh yeah, I won't get no money because if he did it at a studio in 97, 96, like nigga,
Right.
$2,500 a day, half that money was gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But my first replacement was Overjoyed. I did a remake of Overjoyed, Stevie's Overjoyed for Profile, that didn't come out. And then
Did you get paid for that one?
I got paid for that. That was my first check. Shantae Page. I always tell the story about Shantae Page. That she was the first person to give me a record company check, and I got a check for it was like $20,000. I never forget it. I never got $20,000. I never seen that much money in my life.
Ugh.
20,000. I was like, whoa.
In
Just
98?
just to remake
Just to
a Stevie song.
Just
Chords I knew already.
Yeah.
$20,000. I remember being like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just kind of
How fast
like,
you spend that 20,000?
oh my nigga, that money was going so fast. What? I spent, man, listen.
Yeah.
That money was gone so fast.
Yeah, it had to be.
Fast. Nah, but it's just, and then after that, then we did, I would say the first real thing was Ideal.
Get Gone?
Get Gone was the first real thing.
That's when I met you.
Yeah, that was the first real
Yeah.
thing. I was working on Jagged at the time, but Jagged hadn't come out yet. I was working on the second album at the time. It hadn't come out yet, but Ideal kind of came in the middle of all that. With Donnie and all them kind of came down in the middle of me making Jagged Edge's second album. And they had their album was
How
like
do you get to Jagged Edge though?
really random. Really random. So
Because they was already cracking.
yeah, what happened was, so Brian and Brandon would come down at noontime and write all the time. You knew that, right? They would
Came
come down
real
and
for
write.
me. Yeah.
Right. Come down and write songs for everybody. You know, this is why they were Jagged. This the first album was out, Gotta Be. It came out, was blowing up, this, that, and the third. And they was just down there. I would say Noontime probably was managing them as songwriters. Not necessarily the group, but managing Brian and Brandon as songwriters. So it was at Noontime pretty much every day, writing to different beats or whatever. And I remember Chris coming into the studio one time like, hey man, Brian and Brandon want to work with you. You know, it was like a random request. It was like, oh, yo, who's the kid?
Yeah. Because you were the one kid over there.
I was
for
the
the
kid.
most part. That was
I was like the
producing,
youngest guy.
And
Besides
then they was young. Yeah.
And Jonte was younger than us, but Jonte was already on. You know what I mean? So like I was the kid. You know, who's the kid over there? Like nobody's like, I'd be in my room making beats. Nobody was coming in there. I couldn't get nobody writing into my beats, you know, early on. It was really crazy. Eric Roberson was the only person early on that would write to my beats. So he was the only person I was writing with. Like, I'm going to give Eric all my beats. Eric, you know?
Yeah.
And Brian and Brandon was like, man, who's this kid, man? That guy just, he's just in there making beats. Nobody writing into his beats. And Chris was like, oh, let's be Cox. I'm going to put you with him. And Brandon was like, yeah, I want to get in with him. And then Chris came to me and talked to me about it. Then we had a meeting. In our first meeting, we did this song called Call Me. And it just was like, okay, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And we just kept going. And our relationship built from that. We just kept going. It was them that actually was like, who's the kid? We want to go work with this kid.
Yeah.
They didn't even really know nothing. They know nothing about me. They were just like, why is he in there? Nobody's going in there. You know what I mean?
He in there doing something.
He's in there doing something. Nobody's going in there.
Doing something though.
And that's how it happened. So initially, Brian and Brandon, we were just writing songs to place for other people. I wasn't like going into it saying we're gonna make a Jagged Edge album. We were going into it like, okay, Jermaine he working on Escape, he working on Usher, he working on this, that, and the third. Let's do songs for that. Noontime got a list of people that we working on. Absolute, this one, that one.
Absolute.
You know what I mean? So let's just make songs for all these artists. Drano had artists. Everybody had artists.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, shit, let's just work on songs for these artists. And then what happened was we made like maybe 20 songs, like in the midst of us trying to sell. And we were putting together, I remember Brian and Brand, because they were signed to Jermaine's publishing company. That was the whole point. We're going to go to the publisher and ask and play songs for them to get on these other projects. So they were like, yo, Brian, put together a DAT of these songs. We're going to go meet with JD about these songs. Cool. So like what you're trying to do for it was for Usher. Promise was like for Escape. Like all these records were for different people. It wasn't like we were writing songs for them. We were writing songs for...
Promise was to somebody else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We were writing songs for the people. You know what I mean? And they went to go play these songs for Jermaine. And Jermaine was like, yo, like this y'all album.
Oh, shit.
Like, what you talking about? Like, who's making these records with y'all? And it was like, this kid down there. They got this kid, B. Cox now. Like, I want to meet him. Let's meet up and finish the album. So like, they came back and was like, yo, Jermaine wants to meet you, this, then the third. And I was like, hey, cool, whatever. So
tell me this is 99.
This is like 98, 90, like late
So
98.
This is J.E. Heartbreak?
Yeah, late
So I'm
98.
there when
all this is happening.
the fuss is starting.
Yes.
About you.
Yes. Yes.
And they're like, I'm like, where B. Cox going? He's like,
yeah.
Jermaine want to see him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Jermaine got him. Jermaine.
Yeah.
You come in for a second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dip,
you might go throw some tracks around.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, I got a couple. I gotta go with JD.
Yeah, go back with JD.
And you're gone. Like,
Yeah.
you're in JD
Yep.
world. I'm like, he with Jermaine? Like,
Yeah.
he
No,
with us, but he with Jermaine. Like taking him under his wing. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Making records.
They made a deal with him, right? It was interesting because the deal was really for Jay Heartbreak. So that was when Jermaine was like, yo, I wanna work with this kid. I wanna finish the album. That was the initial thing. The only thing that I saw at that point was us finishing the album. It wasn't, I didn't see a long term.
What it was gonna turn into.
Yeah.
You know, what me and Jermaine are today. I just saw it like, okay, we're gonna go finish this Jagged Edge album, wrap it up, tighten it up, and then I'm gonna be back over here doing what I'm doing noon time. And, you know, I didn't think that it was gonna turn into what it turned into. You know what I'm saying? So we go. So like, it took like a month and a half before he called me. And one day he called my house. I was like, hey man, you know, can you come down? And I was like, yeah, I can go. I ain't had no car, but I was like, yeah, I'll come. I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
And then I've called Noon. Was like, hey, yo, Jermaine called me. This, that, and the third. Okay, cool. We'll take you down. And so Noon, Chris, and Terry took me, and Ryan took me to Jermaine's house. And then the first day, we made Keys to the Range. That was the first song we made together. You know what I'm saying? The very first day I met him, we made Keys to the Range. So it was like, okay, then once okay, well, cool, we got that. Boom. Can you come tomorrow? I was like, come tomorrow. Boom. So now at this point, my girlfriend at the time, who I came to Atlanta for, right? Judith, she had a car. You know what I mean? So she at this point was
Judith, I need the car, Judith.
But I wouldn't even, you know, I wouldn't even do it like that.
Take me to the spot.
Judith would take me to the studio. She would take me. So Judith would take me to the house. And the next song we did was Let's Get Married. That was the very next song we did. It was like literally, it happened like that. It was like Keys to the Range, next song. So this is my first day.
First of all, you're being disrespectful.
Watch your tone.
Shit, these so-called players.
No, but
come on, man.
But so what happened was, right, this was the day I learned that Jermaine was a songwriter. Because before, you know, when you are, when in the 90s,
you don't know.
The battle of the producers, you know, you think Jermaine's like Puff, or you think Puff is like Dre. You don't really know them as like
who does what.
You just think they're producers, they're hit makers, or whatever, right? This was the day that I found out that Jermaine Dupri is actually a songwriter.
Cold-blooded songwriter. Cold-blooded songwriter.
First. He's not a producer first. He's actually a songwriter first, right? So he's like, yo, play some give me some church chords or anything. He didn't even know what to describe. Because I just want something like, what y'all be doing in church? Something like that. I was like, okay, cool. So I was just playing some chords. Like, okay, I like that. So I'm playing some chords. And as I'm playing chords, he starts singing the melody to the hook. It threw me completely off because I'm like, you know what I mean? The hell you doing? Like, you right? You know, I'm thinking we're making this for Brian and Brandon to come
and write.
But he starts writing, and he's back and forth pacing the studio. And I'm like, as I'm playing, I'm like, oh, this nigga's writing the hook. He's writing the song.
He's writing Let's Get Married.
He wrote the hook to Let's Get Married, 100%. It's him, 100%. That's all Jermaine Dupri. All Jermaine Dupri. Might as well to all Jermaine Dupri. Me playing piano, and him, as I'm playing piano, figuring out chords, him singing the melody. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is great.
And so then it hit me. I was like, because it sounds like Usher. When he's singing it, it actually sounds like Usher. And I'm like, oh, this nigga actually wrote them songs. Like, You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Now at this point, now I'm like, okay, now I know exactly where I am in the equation with this. Like, I know exactly how to motivate him.
Yeah,
because he's the songwriter.
Gotcha.
So I have to approach. Okay.
And you're 20 years old at this point.
20.
20.
But I'm trying to figure out how do I navigate in the room with him, because he's Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that day was there. I was like, okay, because the Keys to the Range was like random. Like we're sampling shit, and you know it was super random, and it's an up-tempo record. And he's rapping, so I'm not really in a space where I'm not looking at it like he's writing the song. Even though he wrote the hook, the Keys to the Range too, but he wrote it in a rap way. The Twins came and put melody to it. Right? Something, okay, cool. But Let's Get Married was the day that I was like, oh, this nigga wrote Always Be My Baby. He wrote all them songs. I was like, oh. Okay, I understand how to approach when we're working together. I have to figure out how to I now know the approach to get him going, because he got to get going.
Yeah.
For this to make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he wrote the hook, and the twins came and they heard the hook, and then they made it theirs. They kind of, because Jermaine's not a singer, so you have to kind of figure out, the shit is kind of atonal. Like, you got to figure out where the shit lies at. You know what I mean? So me and the twins said, this is where the key is. And the twins did and they wrote the verses, and it was like, I remember sitting there like, oh shit, we just made a hit record. You know what I mean? It was like it happened so fast. It was like.
Was that the first time you felt that though? Was that your first feeling of?
Yeah.
I wrote a hit record today.
Yeah. Like, I know that this is a hit record. Like, I know that when this record comes out, we're gonna be number one. Huh. That was the thing.
But you had never had one. But you just this is the
I know.
feeling.
Yeah.
This is the feeling.
Yeah, this is the feeling
I've been
chasing.
chasing.
But then what happened was, in the middle of us making this record and making this album, Get Gone comes out.
But you didn't feel that way about Get Gone.
I did. I felt
did?
something.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was. I knew that Get Gone was special. I didn't know, but I felt like it was special because it was my first record.
Right.
Okay.
So you feel your first record, you wanted to be right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know it was going to be a top 5 record and peak at number 2. I didn't realize all that. You know what I mean? I just knew that Jonte was
on fire,
wild with it. I just knew that what he came
amazing.
back with.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this nigga is crazy. I just remember being like, and you gotta understand, Jonte came to me, we weren't writing together. You know what I mean? Jonte was writing exclusively with Teddy Bishop. Teddy Bishop, Jonte was Teddy's writer in real life. You know what I mean? Me and Jonte were just friends because we were close in age.
Yeah.
We just hung out all the time. But he wasn't really writing none of my tracks. And the day that I made What You're Trying to Do For It, I'll never forget it. The day we made the song What You're Trying to Do For It, as I'm making the track, Jonte comes in the B. Remember the B room? He comes in the B room. He's like, yo, what's that? I was like, this is for Jagged. This is for Brian and Brandon. We're doing this for Usher. We was writing a song for Usher. He was like, I want a track like that. I said, okay, cool. I'll get it to you. Okay, cool, whatever. This nigga asked me every day for like 2 weeks, where my track? Where my track? Where my track? And I'm like, oh, he never asked for a track before. So I'm like, all right, I get it to you. You know what I mean? Like, this nigga asked me. And of course, Brian and Brandon was irritated, like, man, don't get a nigga no track. I'll be giving a nigga our sound. You know? I'm like, man, I got it. You know, it's my man. I got it. You know what I mean? And then the one day he was just on me like, yo, man, what's up, man? I've been asking for a track for like 2 weeks. What's up? And I was like, you know what, man, Kevin's here. Let's go do a skeleton right now. And I'll give you the skeleton, and then you write a song to it, get it back to me, and I'll build it out. He was like, bet. So me and Kevin go in, I give Kevin a progression, he plays the progression out. I sample his guitars, I chop them, I put like a weak-ass drum track on it. I didn't even do nothing to it, just like track, boom, over the guitars and gave it to him. It was like, okay, yo, man, here's something, you know, write a song to it. When you get it back to me, I'll fill it out. He leaves the studio, goes to his house, writes and records Get Gone, comes back same day, says, yo, press play. And he plays the song, and I'm like, wow. Like, this motherfucker's a monster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for real, like,
Yeah.
when you know what I'm saying? I didn't know, I knew he was a beast, but it was kind of like, nah, this nigga is different.
No way he went just.
There's no way he did this in like an hour.
Yeah.
Like, he drove all the way home and was back in like an hour and a half. Was back.
Just back.
Yeah.
With the, like, which means he did all the fucking stacks and all the shit. He had a D88. He had one D88 at the crib and a mic. And this nigga did all the shit, all the bounces, whatever, brought the shit back. And I was like, all right. And then Chris was like, he sent to the Carmonique, who was Ideal's manager at the time. And they called, like, yo, Brian, you got to come to LA, like, immediately. You got to cut this song. And I cut the song like 2 days later. I ended up having a really produced song. It was my first time going to LA. My first session, like a real, like when Manny American was Manny was my recording engineer.
No way.
He recorded Ideal.
Yeah.
And mixed them, but he was.
And Jonte's not with you.
No, I go to do Ideal's vocals and
by yourself.
Yeah, and do the whole thing out. And then I remember being super nervous going to LA because I was just like, man, you know, all I knew was Menace Society and Boys in the Hood.
Man,
shit like that.
you thought they was gonna get you?
I thought
As soon as you got the plane, hey, where you from?
Nigga,
fool?
listen, bro.
You thought Ice Cube was gonna kill my whole family.
Now let me tell you something, nigga.
The Boondocks
I packed all gray. I was like, I'm not no colors, no red, no blue jeans.
There's no gray gang out here, right?
I packed all sweats, nigga. Bro, I was not white t-shirts, nigga. I was not fucking around. I was afraid of earthquakes and gangs, boy. That's why I was like, man, I'm not fucking with LA. Yeah. Every moving, I'm like, man, it's a fucking earthquake. I was tripping, and they took me to. I remember I was staying at the
La Montrose or something.
No. They actually put me in a really nice hotel. What's the spot on Sunset?
Was it the Hyatt?
Hermitage.
On Sunset?
The Mondrian.
The Mondrian.
They put me at the Mondrian. My first time.
They really liked your song. They was like, we got a hit.
Yeah.
Maybe we get more out
They
of it.
put me at the Mondrian.
Oh, you was sexy.
My first time going to LA ever, I stayed at the Mondrian.
Oh, you had never stayed anywhere like that.
The white
sheet. Mondrian was nice. Sky bars down there.
Yeah.
Mondrian was crazy. This is 98. You know what I mean? This was popping. And
so now you're a little more comfortable.
But I'm still nervous because I'm like, I don't know
where this happens.
I don't know.
Either
where
the
I am.
earth gonna shake or these niggas gonna run up.
I don't know. And the House of Blues next door. I don't remember the House of Blues. Tupac performed that. I don't know shit about the House of Blues over there. I mean, Suge Knight gonna pull up. I ain't know. I'm not going outside, man. Fuck this. And I remember they had
you, man.
I was tripping down. Nobody didn't know me. Nobody knew me, man. I was a nobody. But I was scared out of my mind.
They coming for me.
And they had a car picking me up, took me to Tracking Place. It was now Diane Warren's spot. Took me to Tracking Place. And me and my first time, me and Manny. And I remember I was like, mic the piano up. I did piano overdubs. I said, got some timpanis in here. They put some timpanis in. I did some timpani overdubs. I did the whole track over because I was just like, oh, this song. They spent this money. This song it felt right. I just built the song.
About to turn it up.
I built the song completely up, and literally, I got to give credit where credit is due. Right, me building that track, I learned directly from J-Dub. Like how I built Gig On was completely built based on the very few sessions I had with J-Dub.
So that's what they told me you were.
But wow, that's crazy.
He's
like, Baby Dub, Baby J-Dub.
He's a baby J-Dub.
Yeah,
and so
I play piano. That's why I know.
I would go in and listen to you, and I'm like, but he's not J-Dub.
Yeah, exactly.
Because J-Dub was...
J-Dub.
J-Dub was better than all of us.
He was J-Dub.
He was J-Dub.
He was fucking J-Dub. Yeah.
I was like, he dope though.
Yeah.
I mean, we were the same age.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
he nice. But he not J-Dub.
And
dog.
I hated that. I always hated when they tried to make me that. Because what happened was I played pianos. And they was like, that was the thing. The key was like, oh, Brian's a piano player, J-Dub's a piano player. And they put us together. Then J-Dub was like my mentor by default.
Same.
I mean,
here.
and J-Dub was, I appreciate him to this day. He's one of my, I love him. One of my great friends to this day. But they put me with him because it was like, oh, this is what you do. And I think that offended him. And I felt like they did him a disservice by trying to make me be that. You know what I mean?
While he's there.
He was there
almost
present.
like drafting a quarterback.
Yeah. He was there, present, and rocking. You know what I mean? So it's like he's looking at y'all like y'all trying to replace me. Like, damn. Like, really, it shouldn't have been, that shouldn't have been the sell. And that was the sell that was giving the industry at the time. Yeah. It wasn't just what they were doing in the building. They were selling that to the executives like, yo, we got another little dub on us. That was the sell. And I could see, like, there was some tension with me and him. I didn't understand why, because I always felt like me and him had really good energy initially, but there was some years where he didn't really rock with me, and I understand why now, looking back. He's my nigga to this day now. We're really good now. But at the time, I can understand why, because if somebody is, but if to their defense, they ain't no better neither. They just was selling. For them, they just was.
And that's how the industry goes.
That's like they were just selling. Like we got one.
We got
two. We got one.
Now.
We got another one.
Yeah.
We got two.
They was just selling. So it's just you live and you learn. You know what I mean? But I would say that I had like maybe 6 or 7 sessions with J-Dub at his house, just with him, just kicking it with him. He's showing me things, this and the third, and there were a lot of things he showed me from a production perspective that I utilized in that particular song, for sure.
To get your first hit
Get
record.
your
For
first hit
sure.
record.
For sure.
Shout out to J-Dub.
Shout out to
Shout
J-Dub,
out.
who also, along with showing us production secrets and tips, showed me how to party.
He definitely showed me how to party.
I had no
Oh, my
idea.
God.
I mean, listen, I had been out with some of the best of them. Genuine,
Yeah.
my guys from the house, J-Dub,
No, he's a party
a.k.a.
animal.
Rockstar.
Party animal. At one point, let
Party.
me tell you what's ill, yo. My first time ever going to a strip club was with Jeffrey Walker. It was day shift. We were going to the day shift. Me and Jonte and him, we helped him move or some shit like that. And he was like, I'm going to take you out to lunch. And this nigga took us to Gentleman's Club, day shift. Jonte might have been like 17. Dev was too young to get into the club. And we in there like, what the fuck is going on? Dub know everybody, know all the girls. You know the owner of this nigga
Yes,
in
he
there.
does.
I'm like, what
Yes,
is
he does.
happening right now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Like literally my first ever like real strip club experience was with J-Dub. It is, just because he was the man.
He was the man.
He was the man. You know
Bro,
what I mean?
like, I
Crazy.
remember,
I would hear stories about him.
I think he had to go to court the next morning or something like that. And I was like, you gotta go, yeah, we're gonna hit the strip club.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. We go to Gentleman's Club.
GC.
And we deep in, he's got a stretch Land Cruiser
Oh, yeah.
limo. Like, I mean,
Dub
J-Dub
was
he's burning somebody's budget.
no, Dub wasn't
Right.
fucking around.
No, and we in there, and it's just girls,
Everywhere.
girls.
Everywhere.
He knows all.
Everybody.
I mean, he's holding court. I mean, I'm just.
He knows everybody.
I'm like, introduce me to her.
Yeah, no, everybody.
Yeah.
And
I remember Dub had the 600, had the V12
all I remember
with the rims
from that
What?
night is two things: chasing the limo. I don't know why.
You got left.
I think I got left,
Okay.
and I think I fell in love. You know what I'm saying? I was in there.
that's
just-
easy.
I was in there.
Gentleman's Club too?
I was in there talking love
Absolutely.
talk.
Gentleman's Club for
saying?
sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
we could have built a beautiful
Like,
life
get
together.
out of here. Like, why are you here?
And I
Why are you
remember-
in this club right now? you know you don't have to be here.
You don't need this.
Come on.
The original trick.
Come
Daddy.
home.
Original.
Not the rapper.
Yeah. You looking at him.
Come home. Come home.
Come
Like,
home.
what are you doing?
Matter of fact,
They don't
keep
want
working here.
You know what?
This just
Yeah.
let's just be together. I drop you off, pick you up, like these kind of things. Like he showed me how to, put, like my first like touch of you know
yeah.
any extracurricular.
Yeah, exactly.
Was with J-Dub.
Yeah, J-Dub. He's
We be in that Benz.
Yeah, that Benz, boy, that Benz. J-Dub was my. I mean, he was the, he was the star.
He was a star.
He was the star of the crew.
Yeah.
He was the one that it was like, okay, if you want to make it,
Better be like him.
that's what you got to do to make it. You know what I mean? And he and his tracks. I remember, I'll never forget my first time meeting him. I was doing a session with Eric Roberson, and I was engineering a session just before I got signed on to him. I was engineering, and I'd heard about him. I hadn't met him. He came in the studio. This is at the old studio at Walker Street. Comes in, and he has on this is when Sean John first came out, so he got the Sean John velour on, like 2 or 3 chains on. He got the glasses on. He comes in, and he stops the session. He doesn't even say what's up to nobody. Just stop the session, right? And he must have just got in from New York. Just got in from working with Puff or whatever. Pops the dad in, right? This nigga played like 5 of the most incredible tracks I ever heard in my life at the time. I was just like, yo, okay, I got to get my shit together, yo. This nigga's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just remember being like his track,
disrespectful.
but he could back it up.
Yep.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? He was one of them people that was just that good. And when he was young, he was just fiery, just talk shit.
Oh, absolutely. All of it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he could back it up
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt. I just sit back and just watch all this. Oh, they about to challenge him. He about to come in and he about to fuck these people up. Let me just watch this shit. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy. He was that guy.
Can we get into some records?
Yeah,
we can.
Because we started with the first hit. We
did.
get gone.
Yeah, we
Now we getting the J.E. Heartbreak.
J. Heartbreak,
Man,
yeah. So let's get married.
Let's get into some processes
Come on.
of
Yeah.
some record.
Yeah.
You go first, Jay.
Let's get to it, man.
Which one you want to know?
I don't want to. You know, I like to go timeline.
You
I'm
do like to be
very-
chronological.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah, so we still
chronological.
let's yeah.
So you got the first one, and now you got this JE movement.
Yeah.
Um,
Because He Can't Love You came after Get
Let's Get
Gone.
Married. Oh, Get Gone. He Can't Love You.
He Can't Love You was the first
love
single
that song.
before Let's Get Married.
I love that
So
song.
interesting, right? Interesting story about He Can't Love You. Crazy, right? So you were definitely there during this period. So there was a record that we made, that me and Jagged made, called I Don't Wanna, right? That they said they played for Jermaine, and Jermaine was like, oh, I wanted to be the first single, right? So I remember them coming back telling me, yo, Jermaine wants the song to be the first single, right? At the time, Chris and Ryan wanted the song for Absolute, right? And I had been given songs Absolute, and, you know, shit just was, you know, nothing was
Wasn't
happening with them.
Yeah.
Just sitting, you know, whatever. And I was just like, man, I don't want to get in the song. You know, I remember it was like the first time I really like bucked, like, yo, man, I don't want to get these niggas these song, man. You know what I mean? And Absolute, you know, I don't know what happened. They were drunk this day or whatever, but they did something to really insult me this day. And it was kind of like, okay, I'm not doing no more songs for Absolute. It was like, fuck them. That was like this particular day. I was having a day. And I remember when they told me that, yo, Brian, this is going to be our first single. This is Brian and Brandon. We're going to be our first single. Okay, cool. I tell Chris, I'm not giving Absolute the song, right? So we're having a meeting, and Chris, I'm like, yo, I'm not giving him the song. So Chris pulls me out of the meeting. He's like, yo, we'll go to his office. He's like, yo, bro, like, we going to take the song. And I'm like, nah, I'm not. I said, Jermaine's going to be the first single. I'm not giving the song. So me and Chris get into this crazy, like, we've only had like maybe 3 or 4 arguments out of the 25 years I've known him. This was our very first one. And he was like, you know, you think that Jermaine is going to let you have a first single on his group that's on his label that he, you know, he's just going on and on and on about like this, that, and the third, and because they really wanted the song.
the politics
I was like,
of the business. Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck if it's the first single or the second single or third single. I don't want Absolute to have the song. I want it to be on a Jagged Edge album. Understand? Got to be blown up. Like I'm looking at the possibility of extending, of being a part of this. I'm looking at them already having hit records. Absolute not having no records. You know what I mean? And I'm like, we keep giving these niggas records and ain't nothing happening. You know what I mean? We're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then what happened was Ryan went to Jagged directly, right? Went to Brian and Brand directly and paid them like a crazy amount of money, like for the song.
Because they had written the record.
They wrote the song,
Yeah.
right? So they got paid more money for the song than I did. Because he paid them like behind, you know, Ryan kind of like gave them like, you know, quick 25, 30 to them to be like, yo, let's get the song. We're going to put
Let us
it
keep
out.
the song.
All right.
On
And
Absolute.
Jagged took the money, right? Brian and Brand took the money. It's like, we'll make another one, right? And I remember being so upset. I was like, man, it's some bullshit. You know what I mean?
You mad at everybody at this
Because we had made Let's Get Married already. I knew Let's Get Married was going to be number 2. I already knew, you know what I mean? And I knew what that was going to be. And I didn't want that to be the first single. I knew that if we didn't deliver a first single, Jermaine was going to go with that song first. Because it was the obvious hit, like the, you know,
Big record.
the big one. I was like, man, this is going to be whack. Like we got, you know what I mean? And I remember being so upset, man. And I went to the B room. I went to the B room. I was mad as fuck. And I went to B and I was like, I'm making the first single today. Fuck it. And I fucking made He Can't Love You. Like literally, I said, I'm making the first single today. And I remember making the track because what happened was me and Brian had a conversation about Before I Let You Go. It was Blackstreet, Before I Let You Go.
Yeah.
He was like, man, we need to get some with that kind of same kind of progression, man. We need to sing some on top of that. And I was like, all right, so we can't take the progression, but I'll do something that's around it. It's like, cool. So we started kind of fucking with it. And then as soon as they came in and heard a little bit of it, Brian and Brandon got to work and we did He Can't Love You. And it was like, and when we finished He Can't Love You, I'll never forget it. It was that was the second time. So Let's Get Married was when I was like, okay, this is what hit record feels like. When He Can't Love You was finished and everybody was coming into the studio and like, yo, that's crazy.
What the fuck is that?
That was like, okay, maybe I do kind of know what I'm going for now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was so upset about them selling I Don't Wanna, because I think I only got like $5,000. This nigga's like $30,000. I was
Right.
really upset about that.
This is your villain story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was
this is it.
so
Yeah.
upset about
Yeah.
that. And then I made He Can't Love You, right? And I remember
We got to make him mad.
it's exactly there we go. And then what happened was, I'll never forget, like a couple weeks after we turned the song in, Eddie Weathers called me, Skeeter Rock called me, and was like, "Yeah, man, you got the first single." He was like, "Yeah, we had an A&R meeting. They played songs, and it was between that one or Let's Get Married to come out first, and the whole room. He said the whole room went crazy when I heard He Can't Love You, man. You congratulations, you got the first single." And I was like, I remember telling Chris, like, I told you. I told you I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? And then the record came out, record goes number one. It was like another, so it was like Get Gone, He Can't Love You, and then
Let's Get Married.
Let's Get Married comes out, right? And Let's Get Married goes crazy.
Did you do the remix too?
No. Remix helped us though. Remix really pushed
Absolutely.
it. But we were number one already. And the
Okay.
remix just kind of made us
It
stay there.
kept it going.
Right?
It kept it going.
Made it
But I will-
global, nigga.
I just remember when that happened, because that was really my first number one pop record. Let's Get Married was the first like number one record that was like, okay, I have a number one record. All the other records were top 5, number 2, but Let's Get Married was number 1. And I just remember telling Donnie, like, yo, man, bro, I don't ever want to not be on the chart. And I was on the chart for 5 years straight from that day.
Shit.
Like,
So what'd you buy?
Well, early on, it wasn't a lot of shit going on early on.
No, early on. I'm talking about once you got that number one.
Yeah.
Once Let's Get Married.
No,
come on, because now you got to flex a little.
But can you understand? I didn't start flexing until later. What happened was, when Let's Get Married came out, I was still kind of like, what do I do? You know what I mean? It was kind of like, I don't know what to do. It was kind of like, this shit is an amazing moment. You know, I was going to Phipps and buying like clothes and shit, but it wasn't like I went and made like a huge purchase. You know what I mean? That then, I was basically kind of like, I was actually kind of good with my money early on.
Okay.
Early on, I was kind of like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a girlfriend. I was spending money on her, but I wasn't like, I didn't know what the fuck to do. I didn't really go crazy, man, until like later. Later, I went crazy.
What's the wildest thing you've purchased?
Oh man, I bought a Bentley cash.
All
I bought a Flying Spur cash. I just went right to the spot. Was like, yo, I called my I did a new publishing deal, and I was on the, you wait on the phone, I went on the line for the clearance. Like I signed the contract. Me and my mom and Chris, we all worked it out. I signed the contract, and I was at the L'Hermitage. I'll never forget it. I was at the L'Hermitage Hotel, just kind of in the hotel waiting for the call.
It's not happening fast enough.
It's not happening fast enough. I signed the contract this morning. I faxed it over.
What's going on?
They got my banking information. Like,
What's
they got the
happening?
wiring information. What's going on? What's
I
going
know
on?
I can afford it.
I know.
I'm just sitting there waiting, and then my mom calls. She's like, okay, you can go check the account. And I said, you checked it? She said, I checked it, but you need to go check it. Like, I'm not even going to tell you what's in there. You go check it. And I remember I called the bank. I was like, hey, they gave me
What I got?
They gave me the balance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I called Beverly Hills Bentley. I called the phone with them. Picked up the phone. I called Beverly Hills Bentley immediately. It wasn't even 2 seconds. It was like, can you understand? And I knew the deal was coming, right?
Hold on.
I knew the deal was coming, right? So we had kind of been prepping. Me, Chris, and Jaha they kind of been prepping me for the money. Like, yo, Chris and Jaha, like, yo, Cox, all right, when the money hit, you got to chill out. They were already kind of prepping me, and I was just like, okay, cool. Because I've been in LA for a few weeks working, and I'm like, cool, all right. 'Cause I'm like, the money ain't there, I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I remember Jaha took me a few days before, took me to like go test drive some cars. Let me go test drive this Porsche. Let me go test drive this Aston Martin, this Vantage. Let me go test drive. I was test driving everything, right? I remember I test drove the Flying Spur, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm gonna get this motherfucker.
Yeah, you know when it's the one.
Sure it's like, man, you sure you don't want to just go get a 911, man, and just, was like, I might lean to the, I might lean to the 911. I'm not telling him. I'm in my mind. I'm like, no, nigga, I'm about to drop 325 on this car.
325.
As soon as that motherfucker cleared, I called Beverly Hills Bentley immediately. Hey, y'all still got that car over there? I'm on the way right now. Went to the bank. Went right over there, nigga.
Did they try to stop you at the bank?
Nah.
It's like
A little cashier's check.
Yeah. I was like, let me get a cashier's check.
Write that out.
Yeah, let me get a cashier's check. And I was like to Bentley Motors, Beverly Hills. And I went right down there and gave them that shit. And they was like, which color do you want, Mr. Cox? Where'd you go? Mr. Cox. Oh, Mr. Cox, you want some champagne? You want some
listen, if this was now, they'd be all on Instagram and everything. Yeah.
Oh my God, the gram was out back then? Boy, please, nigga. We
Selfies.
It was like, oh, Mr. Cox.
Sit on the car.
Yeah.
Cox, sit on the car, Mr. Cox.
Put the bow on it and all this
The
shit.
bow and everything. Nah, it was just one of them. And I remember being like, you know, I never did anything like that. And I remember I did that, and then I flew to Houston, and I bought my mama a house immediately. And I went. I you know, when you make so many songs, you understand. At that point, by the time I made that deal, I had made so many songs, right?
The pipeline was crazy.
My pipeline was crazy because I didn't take a whole lot of money every time. So, like, let's say that by the time You Got It Bad becomes a thing, right? Like, my deal, my publishing deal was like, we did like a small deal. Like, we went to Warner and they did the joint venture with Warner, and I did a deal, you know, it was a small deal. So by the time I signed that deal, I had recouped.
You recouped.
So because you Got It Bad was huge. So these records were coming out. They were huge records. So by the time I was signing these deals, I would get $500,000 here, 400 this, but I would sign off. As soon as I signed the deal,
You'd already made it
I'd
back.
be recouped. You know what I'm saying? So I was making money, but I had never did like a deal that was like, oh, here is
M's.
so millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was doing 500 recoup, and I would make my money, and I was doing well. I was doing great. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like I got a whole like
Lump
lump
sum.
sum.
This was
of
your
money.
I've arrived check.
That was like, yo,
Yeah.
here you go, buddy.
So you went into that.
He said that. He said the
He
song.
said it. You said it. So we going there.
Yeah, yeah.
Confessions.
So Confessions, right? You Got It Bad is 8701.
Right.
Oh shit! Yes.
It
Oh,
is
I'm
8701.
jumping.
Yeah.
Now I'm jumping. Yes, it
You
is.
Got It
It
Bad is
is.
8701, and you got
I'm thinking of Burn.
Yeah,
When you
Burn
said
is
You Got It Bad,
Confession.
I immediately thought Burn. But yes,
Burn is
okay.
Confession.
So
8701 is You Got It Bad. You Got It Bad is 8701, and what's ill is that I tell people this all the time. Out of all the artists I wanted to work with, like Usher was the only artist I was like, yo, I have to work with him.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
you needed us
Like,
replacements.
everybody else, it was cool, it was great, you know what I mean? And I mean, working with all the people I, enjoyed, growing up listening to. I got a chance to work with Aaliyah, Tony Braxton, like, different people who, phenomenal people, right? And it was just like, damn, I felt like, okay, I'm in the business, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm working with all these people, they're great, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I'm pushing
and
forward.
you and Jermaine are locked in at this point.
Yes, I'm locked in with Jermaine, but I'm also locked in with Noontime Heavy. So the Tony Braxton, Aaliyah, all that
that's
stuff
from
is
Noontime.
Noontime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm locked in with Jermaine Heavy.
Oh, you
on-
doing double duty.
Yeah, I'm locked in heavy with Jermaine on Jagged Edge. Everything So Def. I'm locked in with him. We're doing Shantae Moore. We're doing, Mariah. We're doing these different things. And the only artist that was like, yo, man, I really want to write with that. That's the call I want. Like, because he would call me for all these different artists. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm coming down. Diana called me, like, yo, can you come and do so-and-so? I'm coming down. Studio, and I was like, man, I hope this nigga call me for Usher, man. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, and he called me. He was like, yo, man, come down. We starting Usher today. I was like, shit. And literally it was the first day that he opened that studio. So it was the first day.
The big studio.
Yeah, from Southside. I went to Southside when they were building it, and then we were still working at the house. And then one day he called me and was like, hey, man, can you come down to the new studio? It's finished. We're going to start today. And I was like, what we working on? He was like, we're working on Usher. I was like, shit. First day, new studio, first song, You Got It Bad. No bullshit.
Hang up.
No bullshit.
Right back.
New studio, first day, first song. No bullshit.
What's first? The keys or the drums?
Keys. So there's an incredible story about this, right? It's an incredible story. We're talking, and he's like, Jermaine is very specific and strategic about how he approaches things. He's like, yo, man, like we need to do a song that's kind of like, what could Nice and Slow be bigger and more pop? Like he was just like, how can we, because Nice and Slow was so niggerish and dope, but it was very, very black. You know what I mean? Even though it ended up being a pop record, but his approach was very
much so a black record.
He was like, man, from progressive, how can we make it be still black? You know what I mean? And churchy, but you know, how can we take it up a notch? And we were just kind of going back and forth. And I started playing some things. He's like, okay, you're going that direction, whatever. So he's like, yeah, man, Jermaine goes, and once he has an idea in his head, he'll go and he'll play video games or whatever's going on. That. So what's crazy is we were having a conversation before that, him and Usher. Me, Jermaine, and Usher were having a conversation before that. And Usher's going through this thing with this girl, you know. I mean, I don't know if I should call this girl's name out, but he's going through this thing with this girl at the time. She's a disaster. This girl is a disaster, and you definitely know who this woman is.
I don't know.
She's a disaster. She's a disaster, and we have to ban her from the studio because it's like she's just out of control. You know what I mean? And Jermaine, we talking about it, and Jermaine's like, man. You know, man, nigga, she got you, man. She got you, dog, man. You got it bad, bro. You got it bad. He just says, he keeps saying it, man. You got it bad, dog. Like, that girl ain't no good. You got it bad. And he just keep saying it over and over again. And then literally, that's how Jermaine, and then whatever happened, whatever that phrase was in his head, he was like, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick to this phrase because we have to write a song about this. And when I came with the progression, he was like, so I came with the progression. Now, mind you, I'm coming from the school of, now at noontime, the way my productions are at noontime are very elaborate. A lot of transitions and strings and bridges and all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm approaching this ballad that way initially. So I got all kinds of strings and lead lines and all kind of shit going on. And I got a bridge part, change part, wind, all kind of shit going on in the song. No, I got all that, right? All that, right? I got all that shit, right? So then I tell Jermaine, yo, I'm ready, man. Come listen to what I got so far. So he comes in, he press play on the drum machine, he just listens to all this shit, you know. And he's listening. He's like, all right. And he goes to the next sequence. He's like, I'm not gonna use the next sequence. I'm not gonna use that bridge. Goes back, and he's like, all right. And he goes to the board, and he just starts muting shit. I'm telling you, this is the greatest lesson I've learned in songwriting and producing ever. I always tell people, he starts muting shit, right? Mutes everything. And I'm like, the fuck is he doing? Like, he muting all the good shit in my mind. You know what I mean?
I was flexing.
I'm in there getting my shit off.
You don't hear that lead?
Yeah.
You don't hear that lead?
Yeah, he muting everything, right? The only thing we have left is the nylon and the wind. He liked the wind. I'm going to keep the wind in there. But everything else, right? And he's like, okay, we're going to start here. And I'm like, okay. Goes on, he goes, starts loading up sounds. This is when Jermaine was using a floppy, so he had an MPT-6.
Oh, yeah. He notorious for that, yeah.
He starts loading up sounds or whatever. He loads up a kick, a snare, a hi-hat. And he makes a drum track with that, right?
And that's it.
And I add a bass line. So you got it bad is kick, snare, hi-hat, nylon guitar, bass line.
Don't forget the wind.
And the wind.
And the wind.
Don't forget the wind.
6 instruments. We write the song, okay? There's no harmony, so you got it bad.
None.
It's only
Top
lead
line.
line. Top line. The only time we hear harmonies in the second verse when he does, I truly adore you. That's the only part where it is.
Adore you.
That's the only part where
yeah.
harmonies. There's no harmonies. It's literally just vocal.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, when we finish the song, I'm like, wow. Like, it was like, when we finished the song, you understand, like, and Jermaine wasn't demoing songs at this point. He had stopped demoing songs. We were writing songs. I demoed the song, and then Usher came and sang it. And after Usher sang the song, it was kind of like, nigga, like, did we just write the best song of life. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like one of those like,
Yeah, I had that moment.
Like it was like a moment where then LA comes, listen to the songs before the guitar solo. We didn't have a guitar solo on the record initially. LA comes and you listen to the song. LA's like, yo, this song's a smash, right? And Jermaine's like, I got a vision for it. I can put a guitar solo on. We're gonna get Billy Odom. So Billy Odom puts guitar solo on it, kills it. We mix it, right? Send the song in to LaFace and Arista. Clive doesn't like the guitar solo. He wants to take the guitar solo out. And Jermaine has to fight for the guitar solo, which obviously is the moment. The guitar solo actually,
Yeah, it's the
in
moment.
the video is the
Yeah.
moment. In the
Yeah.
video is the
Yeah.
moment. You know,
Yeah, but
it's
Clive
the-
just didn't hear it. Yeah.
He didn't hear it at the time. Clive fought a song you should have known better too. We had a guitar solo you should have known better. He just didn't fuck with us on the guitar solos on the R&B shit. I don't know why. But I just remember being like, oh man, simplicity. Like I don't have to do all of that shit to get my point across. You know what I'm saying?
'Cause the average person can't do any of that.
song
And
will do it for you.
don't even truly understand all of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I ain't got to do all that to get my shit across. Like he was like, yo, man, take all that shit out of there, man.
And you got to leave room.
Leave room.
Yeah.
And literally, that's when he was like, okay, I can write now. You know, it was like, oh, this
It
So
was too
much.
much.
Too much.
It was too much.
Oh,
No,
now,
we've all had beats in front of us where we're just like, you can listen to it 100,000 times. Just like, I can't figure nothing
Can't
out
find
of
it.
this shit because
Yeah.
it's just too much going on.
Yeah.
It's too busy for me.
Yeah.
So you need someone like Jermaine to say, hey, man, hey,
He's
hey,
like, nah,
hey,
nigga.
You're doing too much.
mute those.
I
You're
was
doing
like,
too much.
damn. And literally,
You're too
that's
talented.
another technique that I took with me. I took from that moment, it's like, okay, I'm taking this with me. But it's time for me to do, whatever. I'm taking this with me.
Whose idea was it to go Bone Thugs and Harmony? That
That was just, can I keep it real?
change the ways like hanging with bone, bone.
We just are huge fans of Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm gonna keep it real. You understand? We're coming off from Mariah. We did a song with Mariah, right? This is before the big ones,
Right.
Like before, like Shake It Off and all
Yeah.
that. We had done Charm Bracelet. We had done a record before, a song on Rainbow, and Mariah is a full on, like she's a Bone Thugs and Harmony fanatic. Like that's how she's full on, like no doubt, right? So for us, it's just an extension of that
Yeah, I was
relationship.
just
Yeah, you were
You know what I mean?
obvious. It was in you.
That,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was
that,
already
the
locked
extension of
into
that
that.
relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we, I mean, Bone Thugs, by far, is one of my favorite rap groups and one of my favorite
It has to be. They
moments.
have to.
Period. You know what I mean? And melodically, I just always felt like, and Jermaine too, like we just always felt like nobody ever explored it properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, who can explore it and make it global? Who but
Yeah, I did
Usher?
it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, you know,
That's dope.
and I think also it's an extension of, you know, think about Jermaine with Poe Pimp, you know, USHERRA. Like, I think that's just an extension of
The next
It's just the
evolution
next-
to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The progression.
you know, it's the same kind of concept. You know what I'm saying?
So let's get to confessions.
Confessions.
Because we got there. We
Yeah.
got, man, great story. Confessions.
Confessions.
It's time to do life-changing shit
Oh yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
It's time to do game-changing shit.
Yeah.
Like
And
this.
the pressure's on.
Yes.
We didn't
And
feel
it's-
it though.
No. But
Within
it
the
is.
industry, though.
Yeah.
Within the industry, like everybody felt the pressure of
What's
what's
next?
going on with Usher
Yeah, what's doing next? I
because
remember-
of the sputter in between.
Yeah, and I remember too, I was working with like a couple of artists, like, you know, like younger artists in between. And a couple of A&Rs would say things that I thought were like extremely disrespectful. Like I had an A&R tell me something, they brought me this artist and they were describing him to me like, yeah, you know, he's not much of a vocalist, you know what I'm saying? Like, he, you know, it's like Usher, man, you know, like he ain't really much of a vocalist, you know?
What?
And I remember being like, wait, what did you just
That's
say?
a wild.
Like,
ass comment. That's a wild.
I was like, what did
fucking
you, what did you just say? Because I'm like, you know that I work with him. You know that I do his vocals. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you know, Usher, he got me, Usher can sing, but he can't sing. I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, hold
Everybody
on, man.
said,
Hold on,
what?
bro. So I was like, bro.
Hey, listen.
I was like, bro, what
Said
do you-
swivel chair.
Man, swivel chair.
Yeah, I'm like-
If you're watching this, You a goddamn fool.
Out your motherfucking mind.
I just remember
Yeah,
being
I don't
like,
care who you are. You can be the biggest executive
Yeah.
too. Saying Usher is not much of a vocalist, you're a goddamn fool.
I remember that vividly. So I remember going into making confessions. Like I said, we didn't feel the pressure because we knew. We just went into it the way we would do any other thing.
You
like,
just on automatic. You
so
let's
like-
just do dope shit. Yeah.
like Burn was the first song we did for confessions. Like
That was the first song.
the first song we wrote.
Yeah.
Burn was the first song we
Shakir
wrote.
Stewart played it for me
Yeah.
at Hitco.
Yeah, that was the first song we wrote.
And
for
I thought it
Confessions.
was y'all first single.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is out of here. This nigga's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all the way back.
Yeah.
It was the first song we wrote. So it's like, Let It Burn is another thing with Jermaine. It's like, he's a person that will have like multiple conversations with people. Let's say he'll have conversations with me, with you, and not let us know that he had conversations with us, right? So we think that what we're talking about is the first time we're talking about it, and that we're coming up with it right here. But really, he's already had a conversation with you, and you said the same thing to him. And he's just saying to you, well, man, shit, let it burn, right? But literally, he had the same exact conversation with Usher.
So the niggas laying out on DiCaprio in Inception.
Like, so everybody
Fucking
has
people's-
different perspectives on how
Nigga, that's
Burn
incredible.
came about. You know what I'm saying?
But it was
Everybody
really
has
Jermaine.
different
It's
perspective, right?
really Jermaine.
Being
Really
a mad
him.
scientist.
But everybody has, so my perspective is I was going through something. I never played video games. I was in the room playing video games. It's like, man, you in there playing video games? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And I'm telling them what's going on. My lady, it's just bullshit going on. Yada, yada, yada. And he's just like, man, shit, Cox, man, you let that shit burn, man. Right? He says it, right? And I'm like, nigga, that's a song. He was like, nigga, go write it. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? He was like, nigga, go write it. You think it's a song, go write it.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So I go and I start making the progression to what ends up becoming Burn. And I say, y'all, I think I got the progression. So he comes in and I play the progression. He's like, yeah. And then I literally was like, it's going to burn for me to say this. Come from, I start spewing a lyric to him. He's like, that's it. And then I said I made the first 4 lines. Then he picks up the next like 4 or 5 lines. And then it's like, this is the first time me and him are writing a song this way.
Yeah.
Because normally it's like I make the progression, I may give him a melody, he may, you know what I mean? I may chime in there, but he usually does the heavy
The lyric.
Heavy lifting.
lifting up the lyric. You know what I mean? With this particular time, me and him are just going like back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like trying to do my best babyface shit with the, with the falsetto, with tell me why I'm staying in this place. And it's like when I'm hurt, we're going back and forth. Like I'm like, this shit is like somebody need to be filming this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in real life. So we finish the song and we're like, oh, this is the first song for the album that we're making we don't know Confessions is coming at this point. We're just writing. We're months away from writing Confessions at this point. This is the first song. So we start writing other songs, trying to just get to the next song. And we go to LA. And now, mind you, Burn is finished. Demo's finished. Boom. We go to LA. We work at Bayface. We got Brandon's Way. And we kind of got writer's block. But we can't, we're not really getting, it's not really coming, right? I gotta go to the dentist. I'm gonna go to the dentist, whatever. Jermaine's like, yeah, shit, I'm gonna go ride around, whatever. So Jermaine's riding around LA and he fucking sees the big ass Beverly Center sign. You know what I'm saying? And for him, that was the first thing that came to his mind, like, oh shit, I'm in the Beverly Center, like, man, not giving a damn. Like that's what, you know what I mean? These things start coming to him. You know what I'm saying? And we would, I come back, I got my teeth pulled, I'm full of Viking, and I come back, you know what I mean? And he's like, we start coming up with this idea. Ironically, what was the predecessor of this idea was Ignition. Ignition is kind of why Confessions even exist in real life.
How so?
Okay, so we do Confessions 1, which is originally called All Bad, right? All Bad, we do the song, boom, whatever. This is before Ignition, all right? As time goes by, they're sleeping on the song. They're sleeping on All Bad. the label ain't really fucking with it. You know what I mean? Ignition comes out, right? The first version of Ignition comes out.
Yeah,
It didn't
yeah.
really blow up. You know, it was kind of like some random shit. Niggas got the single in the mail. Like we got, you know what I mean? It was really super random, but but we thought this shit was incredible.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the song, the end of the original version, he gives you the previews of the remix.
Yeah.
Right? He gives you, yo.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, yo, so we kept like, yo, this, I can't wait to hear what this nigga do with this song. Whatever. Then next thing you know, he comes out with
Bounce,
part
bounce,
2, right?
bounce, bounce,
and we're
bounce,
like,
bounce,
oh,
bounce.
this nigga here, bro. Right? So cool. Ignition comes out, it's going crazy. And then Jermaine comes to me like, yo, I know how we can save this song. We can save All Bad. I was like, well, we got to do part 2. We got to just we got to do a part 2 to the song. We got to make it, so take some elements of whatever the first part of the song is and let's make part 2.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. I said, well, what's part 2 about? You know what I'm saying? He was like, nigga, I got it. The nigga gets the bitch pregnant and this, that, and the third. He's going on and on. He's going on and on. And it's going about, so I'm like, oh no, nigga, this is personal. Oh, this is personal. I was like,
You can't fool me.
you too excited about this story, dog.
Who is she?
You too excited about this.
Where's the baby?
You're too excited about the story, bro.
Where's the baby, Jermaine?
You're too excited about this story, dog. It's too detailed.
Yeah.
Like we're not this detailed. We usually coming up with it on the spot.
Yeah,
the
no,
fact that
he's-
you don't have a song yet, but
Yeah.
you got the whole story.
You've lived it.
Just you.
You've
I
lived
was
it.
like, wow.
It's you, bruh.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, so we fucking started making what ended up becoming Confessions 2, right? But it was All Bad 2. And he kept saying, because he was like, yo, I'm going to take because like in All Bad 1, it was like, everything I was all bad. I got a chick on the side with a crib and a ride, telling you so many lies, ain't nothing good, it's all bad. And I just want to confess. So he kept saying confess in All Bad.
All bad.
Right? So Jermaine took the idea, well, let's just take the word confess and make that the hook.
The hook.
And make it like, these are my confessions, this, that, third. But it still was going to be called All Bad Part 2. It was going to be called Confessions. But we kept listening back to it. And he was like, man, this shit is called Confessions, bro. This song is called Confessions. He was like, we're going to call it Confessions. So that's when we changed the name of the song and whole nine, whatever. Confessions Part 2, obviously, just like Ignition Part 2, trumped. It just like it was a hit.
Yeah.
It was a hit. You know,
Yeah.
the label was like, this is a hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why everybody was like, well, how are we going to connect because the hook says, I got to give you part 2 of my Confessions. How are we going to connect it if we don't put, because LA did not like Confessions Part 1. He did not put Confessions Part 1 on the album, the original version of it. So that's why Usher did the actual interlude. He took our song and made it an interlude to go into Confessions Part 2. You know what I'm saying? To make it make sense.
Put that on
somewhat.
something.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop playing with me, man.
Stop playing
Don't play with me. Don't play like that. Don't play
It's
like
legendary.
that.
They killed it. It was like they, you know what I mean?
Super legendary.
They ended up killing it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a meme. Don't play like that.
Yeah, check.
He was on his Michael Jackson shit.
He was
when
on Michael
like-
Jackson. He was. And then the shit blew up, and but that was just, you understand though, guys, that was just such a, it felt like a fucking whirlwind, bro, because right? I remember that whole process with Sean Garrett and Q, and, you know, Cliff was the engineer at the original session, and then Donnie was the engineer, record plant with Usher. You know what I mean? I remember that whole
It's a thing.
thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To hear all the different stories is a whole nother thing. But I remember how it went down. I remember Shakir playing the record at the A&R meeting. I remember the majority of A&R was like, yo, that shit is trash. Like, A&Rs were really not fucking with it. And then there were certain A&Rs like Memphis, what's my boy? Daryl Jones, who else? Mark Pitts. There were certain A&Rs who were like, nah,
We got something.
this song a hit,
Yeah.
right? Now you look at those A&Rs, they are, you know, Mark Pitts is the, you know, Daryl Jones, like these guys are,
Yeah.
they made the right decision, you know,
Yeah.
they made the decision. But I remember being in that space where it was like, it was a distinct, like, it was such
They
a
drew a line in the sand on
it
the
was
record.
such a it wasn't nothing lukewarm about it. It was like either you loved the record or you hated the record.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hated it. A lot of people hated it. You know what I'm saying? But the few that was like, yo, Memphis got on the top of the fucking desk, like, yo, y'all are tripping if y'all don't put this song out. Yeah. If y'all don't put this song out, y'all are fucking tripping. You know what I mean? And because they shot the video to Burn. Burn was going to be the first single.
Man.
We mixed, mastered,
that's what
shot
Shaq
the
told
video, everything. Burn was coming out. LA was like, I'm doing that. Niggas was like, no, nigga, we got to put this song out. We got to put this song out. And they fought for that record. And then Lil Jon leaked it. And it was like, oh, after that was over.
John said, y'all playing.
But nigga, no, we was in there literally having like a proper like tug of war.
Yeah.
And I was working as an A&R at the company at the time, and Jermaine was running the Black division. Like we were having a proper tug of war. 'Cause like nobody. I mean, we're talking about we're in New York, so a lot of those A&Rs are New York based.
Yeah. They're not
just like,
really
man,
understanding
this
what.
shit trash.
Yeah.
They're going crazy on how whack
B.
the song is. Yeah,
This
all
ain't
that,
it, B.
all that, man. It's whack, B. All that. You know what I mean? And the motherfuckers who stayed
Right.
down, who stuck with it.
That
You
shit
know.
shook
And how
LA up.
many records has that album sold now?
We're at 20 million now. We're almost at 20 million.
That record kicked off?
Yeah, the record kicked off.
That shook LA.
And-
The foundation.
And it would have been,
Everywhere.
I feel like that was such a necessary kickoff.
It was the sugar on the vegetables.
Burn would have been good. We would have did well with Burn. That's the first single, but that
It
record
needed that.
Needed that.
Bro,
No, because it made people listen to R&B that don't listen to R&B.
And when you go to the show, he closes before he does like all this. He closes with yeah. And to watch,
It's
how
a universal
that song
record.
affects everybody.
Everybody.
Don't matter what you are, what color you are, what nothing. It don't nothing.
It's like
Everybody gets up.
that song affects everybody in a way that's like we wouldn't have never got. I don't think we would have got. We would have did well.
Yeah, we're just gonna do well. Yeah.
87.1 did 7 million. You know, we would have did okay. We would have did well. Confessions would have did well, but I feel like the series of events would led up. Yeah, had to come before Burn. Burn was like, phew. It was like now we got. Oh, now we cooking with Crisco, nigga. Now we, you know what I'm saying? And then Confessions, the story, the controversy at the time, Women Chili, all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he went into his whole caught up. Even
Right,
the
he
rest
got
of the
busy.
album,
He got busy.
he got busy.
He got busy.
Masterpiece.
He
got busy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then you go into Mariah, right? We go from that and we go right into Mariah. We go right into Emancipation. You know what I mean? We go from Confessions right into Emancipation. So, make Shake It Off. You make Can I Get Your Number? You know, Jermaine Emmanuel makes We Belong Together. Like we go into that movement, right? Then right from that movement into me and Jonte making Mary.
So, perfect segue. Because now, and this was something like, as your friend on the outside looking in, I knew how dope you were. Obviously, Tank knew how dope you were. I think the industry at one point was kind of just putting you as,
Jermaine's guy.
these are Jermaine's records. So when you catch that record, that Mary record,
Yeah.
initially, people, I think, were just kind of grouping it with the rest.
I know I did. Yeah.
So tell us about that, of like, in a sense, you stepping outside.
Well, it was necessary. I mean, it was actually some that I couldn't even really. I mean, you understand? I was always making records on this side, right? Without JD. So I was making records with Lil Mo. I was making records with, you know what I mean? I made records with
you did
Destiny
Superwoman.
Child. Yeah, I did Superwoman. I did Forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was making hit records outside of
Nigga, you
what I
did
was doing with
Superwoman?
JD. I did the original version of Superwoman. They did the remix, and I did Forever with her and Fabulous. So it's like I was making records outside of the social death bubble. You know what I mean? I was in that bubble just as Jermaine's right hand man. I'm gonna come in, boom,
Yeah.
whatever. Jermaine Dupri. He's gonna be. He got the glory for those records. I got paid very well. My deals were
I'm sure
very
you
great.
Scottie
Yeah.
Pippen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You Scottie Pippen
My
on.
deals were very, very great.
Yeah.
So I never complained about the money. What happened was there was a discrepancy I made a record for Frankie J, and it sounded a lot like Burn, right? And instead of Jermaine having a conversation with me directly about it, the publisher reached out to my publisher and was like, hey, you know, they put an injunction on the record or whatever.
Oh, shit.
So then Warner called me like, how, we put an injunction on our own record. And I was like, how? Because it was like, Burn, it's like How to Deal infringed Burn, but we own Burn too. So how does that work? You know what I mean? We had to figure.
Yeah.
And I found out what it was, that it was JD had put the injunction, you know what I mean, down. And I think it was just due to like, you know, the people he had, you know, Phil Ransom, like the team, you know, his business team, you know, it just did what they did. And I think that was in the middle of us making Emancipation. It was in the middle of us making Mariah when this happened. And nobody, you know, I mean, if I got an issue with you about a record
Nobody
and I'm
tells
with
you
you
directly.
every day,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
That's just not what happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I found out through my publisher and through my manager, through Chris, and that's what was happening. And I remember we had a meeting, me, Jermaine, his attorney, my attorney, and worked out the differences for this Frankie J situation. But it was kind of weird. It was just kind of like, 'cause I'm not an ego-driven person, you know what I mean? But it was just kind of weird. It was kind of like, you know, it was just a strange meeting, you know what I mean, for somebody who I see every day. You know what I mean? At the time. And then something happened. We were supposed to come back. I was supposed to come back and work another day. And it got canceled or something like that. Or something happened. I didn't get notified or something happened. And I showed up at the studio anyway. And they were doing something else and I couldn't get in the studio. And it was just kind of, long story short, it just didn't happen.
The key card wasn't working.
Yeah, it just didn't happen, right? And I didn't get notified. Nobody told me nothing. Next thing I know, I just wasn't getting called anymore, right? And but you understand, I'm still working. I still have song deals in other places and other buildings. And so I'm just thinking, well, you know, whenever they're ready to call me, they'll call me. You know, I really didn't take it. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I didn't know
How to take it.
what to take. I just like, okay, well, cool. Whenever ready to call me, they'll call me. I'll pull up. I'm gonna just
Go do my thing.
I'm gonna do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just get through my song deals.
We're just
whatever,
gonna drive this flying spur around.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, this is before the flying
Okay.
spur. This is before the flying spur. So I get a call. Chris calls me. Chris Hicks called me with Damon, my boy Damon, on the phone. And he's like, "Yo, we're gonna get you on the phone with Kendu and Jimmy. They want a record for Mariah. For Mary. And they, you know, now mind you, We Belong Together is out or just came out and it was blowing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shake It Off was coming out. So we, you know, Bow Wow's Like You was out. So I mean, we got records out.
Yeah,
you know,
I couldn't.
records is going.
Yeah.
So I get the call and it's Jimmy and Kendu on the phone. And Jimmy's like, hey man, you know, you think you could make me one of those records like you made for Mariah, you know? And mind you, at this point, I hadn't talked to Jermaine or talked to anybody at Social Def in a minute. It had been maybe a couple months or whatever. And I was like, yo, hey, well, I said, which song? Because I made a few songs on the album, but I was like, and I knew Shake It Off was one, and then Shake It Off was a hit too. But I'm like, which song? Which song? He was like, yeah, the one that's out now, like with the We Belong Together. I said, hey. I said, hey, you might want to call Jermaine and Manuel for that, because I didn't do that song. You want to call them, you know, they can make that for you. I didn't make that song. Because the last thing I wanted to do was to be like, act like, yeah. And then get out there. Brian's claiming that he made this. So, you know what I mean? I just didn't want that.
We got the guy who made that. He's coming in right now.
Yeah. So I was like, yo. I was like, yeah. I said, yeah. Call them. You know what I mean? They'll they'll make it. You know. And he was like, well, I'm calling you. You know what I'm saying? He was like, but
That's
you
Jimmy.
can't. He was like, what? You
That's
can't.
Jimmy.
You can't do it, nigga?
He was like, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like you can't make it. I said, well, no, I can do it. I was like, I can definitely do it.
I can do it.
Yeah, I just was like, you know, I just
want to be
I
clear.
didn't do that one.
I don't want to. I know no disrespect. I'm not going. The one thing I don't care what other people may be, you know, saying or whatever about me or whatever. You will never hear me say anything derogatory about anybody, especially somebody who helped put me in the game. So he not rocking with me right now. That's just, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he called me, I'm gonna be right there.
Yeah.
If he ain't rocking with me right now, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, "Can you man?" I said, "Yeah, I can make it." Sure. I said, "Give me like an hour. I'll call you back." Hung the phone up. Call Sam. Sam, come to the studio. Sam came down. It's like, all right, let's look all this shit up, man. Let's get to work. And I was like, Brian, what's the most basic chord progression you can come up with? Like, let's not even overthink this. What's the basic key? Let's start C major. It's not even, no black keys. Oh,
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
do,
Just
what's the triad?
yeah.
You know what I mean? And literally I was like, what's the most basic triad melody I can come with? They're like, okay, boom, right, cool. 4 bars of that. What's the most basic drum program you can come up with? Come with the basic drum program. Basic. I did it as, it was the most basic track I could think of at that time. I made the track in like 8 minutes, right? I called John Tay, like, hey, just got off the phone with Jimmy and Kendu and Chris, and they want us to make a record for Mary. I got the track up right now. Can you come to the studio? He was like, play it over the phone. Play the track over the phone. He was like, all right, I got it. I'm on the way. On the phone up. Cool. My cousin Jason Perry is walking by. As I'm about to track the beat, my cousin Jason's walking by the studio. The door's open. He walks by, sticks his head in. And my JP, what are you doing, man? I don't know, fool. I'm just roaming around. I was like, man, come fucking do a bridge on this, man. I need like a 4-bar bridge. Come write something, man. Do something.
Do something with yourself.
He was like, yeah. He comes in and sits down. He does a 4-bar bridge real quick. I said, something simple. Boom, 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 boom. He does 4 bars, right?
Yeah.
Cool. In and out. Done. All right. John Tay comes. Said, play the track. Played the track one time. He was like, all right, Sam, I'm ready. Nigga sang the song all the way down. I'm just getting chills thinking about it. He sang the song all the way down. Wow. One time. And then added back some shit after. And it was like, okay, cool. All right, let's send this to them. see what they think about this. You know what I'm saying? And then we got the call back. It was like, yo, like, she's cutting this tonight. Like, she's not wasting no time. She's cutting this song today.
Smash.
Me and John Tay have been working very hard for a long time and had made a lot of records and made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But wasn't in the conversation like I feel like we should have been. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't, we just were...
Or you just wasn't satisfied with the conversations.
Yeah, we were in, exactly.
Like, there's some more.
There's a bigger conversation happening. You know what I mean? And I remember being very, very, because I went off, we made that record, I went off, I started making other records for Joe and doing other shit, you know what I'm saying? And I remember this record kept coming back. It kept coming back. Like, yo, Jimmy's like, well, man, let's have Ron Fair do something initially. I was like, hell no, I don't want Ron Fair touching my shit. It was going back. I didn't know Ron Fair. I was just in a real, like, man, fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Jimmy really sat me down and was like, yo, listen, let Ron Fair do it, man. He's a genius. Get him the files. Let him fuck with it. I was like, cool. So I was like, cool. Fuck it. Got it to him. Ron Fair does what he does. He gets her vocal right. He embellishes my string arrangement. He embellishes the bridge. He does a lot of things to kind of make it tight. Because initially it was just a great idea, but he kind of brings it all the way together.
Yeah.
And first time I ever seen like Melodyne, the first time I ever seen like anything, you know what I'm saying? I went to go work with him and they were showing me how they was tuning her vocals and I was like, oh, this shit is crazy. It's not like auto-tune. This shit is like her real vocal. Just you know what I mean? And when it was, I remember we were mixing. I was working in New York. I was working on Joe, and they were in LA. Him and Dave Posada was mixing. We were sending passes back and forth. I would give them out notes. They would do it instant. I remember that last pass, bro. This is really, now mind you, all those moments building up to like when you know something's a hit, something feels special. Like, oh yeah, I felt it with that one. I felt it with this one. I felt it with that one, right? This moment was really ill because it was like, it's one thing to say, yo, this record's a hit. It's another thing to know that this record's gonna change everything that's happening in my life right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, I'll never forget it. I was working with Joe, Akon and Divine and them were at Jive. I was at Battery working and they were at Jive for whatever reason. And they came into the studio, right? We're talking, shooting the shit, boom, boom, whatever. I get the last pass back to listen to. Sam was like, yo, they just sent the last pass. Let's listen. I was like, cool. I said, y'all want us to this Mary record? Cool. Let's play it down, right? Time to finish. Song's finished. Nigga, you could hear a pin drop. Niggas just like, yo. Akon was like, yo, that's the best shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, I've never heard it. I was like, yo, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a thing that was kind of like, right in that moment, I was like, oh, this shit get on the radio.
It's over.
My life is just moving into a whole nother direction. And I knew it, and it happened. It happened so fast. It was like the record went to radio, and it was like the shit changed.
Immediate.
Everything. It just changed it all, right? So that was interesting, right? How life works, how life happens. I'm now just, okay, let's go. Let's do a movie. Want to go meet with Jimmy, made a song deal with Jimmy. Wanted to go meet with Craig, made a song deal with, I just started going, right? One day I get a call from Diane McDonald, who was Jermaine's production coordinator, right? I hadn't heard from her.
His what?
His production coordinator at the time. I hadn't heard from her in forever. No, I'm sorry. No, it was before she called me. Mariah called me. Mariah said, hey, I'm doing a restripe of my album. And I need a new song and this, that, and the third. And I really want to, I thought she was calling to work with me. Yeah, I really want to work with you on it. And I really want you and Jermaine to work on it together. Like, are you opposed to working with Jermaine? I was like, no. No, I'm not opposed. I said, of course, just tell me when and where. Like, Jermaine's my guy. I have no problem with him.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I just want to make sure. Hung the phone up. 5 minutes later, Diane calls. Like, hey, we going back in Atlanta. So I'm back in Atlanta next week. Okay, can you come on this day? I was like, yeah, cool. Now, mind you, me and Jermaine hadn't talked in a minute. It had been some months that went by. You know what I mean? Since that misunderstanding was that I didn't know nothing about happened. Go back, walk in the studio like nothing ever happened. First song we do is fucking Don't Forget About Us. This is how it works.
Divine.
This is so what me and him have is some other shit.
But for you critical. This is a key point.
Talk about it.
It's a key point.
Talk about it.
Because at this moment, your ego could have led you somewhere else.
1,000%. 1,000%.
For you to be that humble and that selfless and just understand that it's music and things happen and, sometimes it go left. But even the way you even carried yourself throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
But that moment, though, after you get, like...
a hit, a smash like that.
Not even just a hit. Like, man... You got an all-timer.
Everything.
You have an all-timer at this point, and you can poke your chest out. Your head can't fit into the room. Whatever these things are, and you say, you know what? Of course I'll go back and work.
Of course. I'm
not tripping. That's God. That's God saying, I'm going to give you more. Because you can handle this.
And I understood, and I still understand, how important that relationship is.
But it was an upbringing thing too. I think that played a part of that because for you, Jermaine was still your elder.
Yeah.
And so
Respect.
regardless
There's
of
a
what
respect.
happened,
Respect level.
you
Respect, yes.
maintained a level of respect
Yeah.
for your elder.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And that, like, with that, coupled with the no pride and the no ego,
Right.
set you up for.
But then I'm saying we walk in, the first song we make after we hadn't seen each other in forever, it was a #1 record.
Come on, bro.
You know, so for me, I was like, that was even a more of a like, okay, dog, like this is, you know,
It's meant to be.
and I felt like in life, right? I'm gonna always go with my instinct, and I feel like if you move with good intent, if you move with a good spirit, no matter how like distraught I was for the short period of time that we weren't really working, I was just like, damn. And it wasn't even about money because I was working.
Right.
I just was like, damn, what happened? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just because I'm not driven by ego. I'm driven by relationships.
And
I'm
that's
driven
and that's
by
why you've had
connections.
success for so long, bro. Like, I mean, to the point you're still making hit records.
Yeah.
Vito,
Yeah.
Still.
Ari Lennox, Pressure.
Yeah.
Still.
Like
Yeah.
this is not something like what is at this point, what is it, 20?
It's more.
How many years?
It's been
20 what?
20, it'll be
Five?
25 this year.
25?
25 this year.
Come on, bro. People don't make hit records for 25 years. It's
They
a very
do
select
not.
few people who first hit record and their latest hit record span that type of time. That's what I mean, like real shit.
Yeah.
Like when I have conversations with people bring up Tank to me, I'm like, leave Tank out of it. Like, what you mean? You should leave Tank out of it. This is me. This is not my business partner. This
Yeah.
is not nothing.
Yeah.
This is me as a fan of music.
Yeah.
I'm like, when y'all speaking about artists, leave that brother out of it.
Yeah.
His first hit record was in 2001.
Yeah.
It's 2023.
Right now. Right now.
Relax.
Relax. What are y'all talking about though? And then it's like, what are we really
What are we
talking
really-
about?
Like, what are we
though?
talking about? So,
Like, in what capacity are we? You know what I mean?
you
Like,
know,
yo,
when they be
somebody-
doing, especially when everything kicked off with verses.
yeah, like,
Oh, with the verse, I said, leave that man alone.
yeah,
Same, like when you come up,
yeah,
leave that man alone. Leave him alone. Just some people, it's just like, hey man, just say, hey bro, you dope.
yeah.
Keep,
Just
Keep
keep
it moving.
walking.
and keep going. Because then it gets tricky after that, because then you got to start spanking niggas.
yeah. And then when you get to a space where
Why
you
that
have to do
remind me of the Bow Wow video?
Spank
that ass.
But
Yo.
it's real though, bro. Like your history is so
It's-
bad. I mean, like,
it's
bro, this is
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like
And I-
pressure's my shit, bro.
But it's crazy, right? I think that where we are now, right? If we talk about it, I think that me and Jermaine on this space was kind of like, if it's new, bring it.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I mean?
so since I'm old, I can't come.
No, nigga. Nigga, you definitely could come, nigga. No, you are. You no. See, I walked right into that too. I wasn't even trying to do
You
that.
walk right into it. You walk right into
Wow,
it.
because
Oh,
I
man.
still, you know,
Listen, I got invited to my first brunch this year.
wow, yeah.
I've known Brian. I don't know for how long. And you know what? Brian didn't invite me. I kind of crashed his brunch.
You had to crash
I
the
kind of crashed
brunch.
his brunch, bro. Shout out to the Anderson sisters.
You had to
man.
crash the brunch.
Yeah. Shout out to my homegirls, man.
These niggas got the #1 R&B songs of all times. I can't even get in the room with these
Crashed the
niggas.
brunch. Hey, when I walked in the brunch, you see me, I was like, hey! I was like, no.
Oh, shit.
I wore my
nigga,
Sunday
yeah,
best and
nigga.
everything. I'm like, yeah, nigga,
Yeah,
I'm here.
nigga.
I'm
Yeah.
here.
I'm here, nigga.
Where the food at? I'm in here now.
Food was cracking too. It was cracking.
Oh man,
I'm sitting by
man.
moms.
Yeah,
I'm sitting by
nigga,
mom.
so-
I'm at the family table.
Yeah, nigga, at the
I'm
family
like,
table. Yeah.
Somehow this worked out where
It
I can't
worked
really
out.
get on him because I'm at the family table.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yo, nah, man.
D
it
Nice
just-
shouts me out from the stage.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you
I
can't
was
really
supposed
go
to be-
crazy.
You niggas got in the back and made this up
Yeah,
together.
I blame everybody there.
Everybody.
All y'all was in on this shit. You didn't want me around.
Nah, man. I mean, you know what's
That's
interesting,
great,
man? I think it just was. I mean, what's beautiful about this brotherhood and us coming up together is watching evolution. Like I'm gonna keep it real. A real thing that really also helped me bridge this gap in a real way is being able to. But of course, I'm a DJ, so that level of like bringing the knowledge of
I
music.
remember when you
doing
first
R&B.
started touching turntables.
Remember how turntable was at the studio? Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got behind Jermaine's turn, or they might have been your turn.
No, my turntables. Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm working on this DJ shit. I got my
Yep.
like this." I'm like, "All right, because you'll blend. You ain't blending."
I know. Yeah, I was trying to figure that shit out. Though.
He's like, "No, I'm gonna figure this shit out." I'm telling you. And you just sat there, and I'm thinking we can maybe work on some music. And then you sat there and worked on your DJ for like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, loud too. Had the doors open, playing. Yeah, loud.
I was like, man, I'm gonna go play basketball. Nigga tripping. But go ahead, you that connection.
I think that being in that space and also being able to start curating these parties, man. Like really being on the front line of like what's happening R&B parties. Of course,
Absolutely.
you have R&B house party, you have R&B only, you have different parties as like these monthlies that travel around.
Yeah.
But I think in the city of Atlanta to do a weekly and to sell it every week, and for a black ass city like Atlanta to have an R&B party that's happening every week, and it becomes the center of the industry.
Yeah.
You have me, you have Keith. It becomes the center of the industry in Atlanta. And it becomes a place to go, right? Janet Jackson pulled up on us, dog, out of nowhere. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, get to a space. I think that also plays a part in us being on the, the
front lines.
The front
Still
lines.
in it.
The front lines, yeah.
And anything and everything R&B. Like, me and Jermaine spoke about this not too long ago. We were just like, yo, like, we have to be in a space where anything, no matter how far-fetched it may feel or seem, you know what I'm saying? Like, we feel like, oh, then we want to do, and Fantasia's not far-fetched, we worked with it before, but if it's like we want to do, you know what I'm saying, something in that space, we need to do that.
We need to do it.
We need to do, like I said, like, Tank,
all of it.
Like, Tank, you need to be there. We need you in the building. You know what I'm saying? We need you in the building.
He just told you.
Okay, we're coming September, done. We need you in the building because we need to make, I don't know if anybody really understands, and I don't think we were really trying. You put us in a room with certain people and we just figure it out, right? Yeah. And then it comes out. It's okay, well, cool. You make Be Without You, where they make We Belong Together. You make Burn, you make Confessions, you make, there's like...
Keep going. Talk your shit, bro.
No. You got a bag,
Talk
you make...
your shit, bro.
You make all these songs and it's kind of like, we weren't even really... It's just, okay, we got a session this day. I wrote Circles. It was a day, me and Adonis had it was like an extension of a fucking Omarion session. We were doing Omarion, and then the session was over, and Chris was like, yo, you got 2 more days. Why don't we have Marcus coming in? I go, fuck it. You paid for the days. Fucking gave Marcus a record out of nowhere. Yeah. Not even thinking it was like, oh, we're going to do that. Puff called me to do Making the Band. Like, I didn't know I was going to be the person picking Day 26 and making, you know what I mean? Like,
you ought to understand something, that there are levels to things. So like when you're a pro, like me and this guy play basketball, and we play.
Yeah.
Jay really plays, really plays.
Yeah.
When pros come in, when
level.
Kyrie Irving comes into the run,
it's a whole nother ball game.
He's not even trying, as you're saying.
Wow.
He's just being a pro.
Right.
Yeah. That's just what the fuck he is. Yeah. And there is a grave difference between him and I.
Yeah. No, it's
100%.
True.
Wow.
It's true. And it's the same thing
with
in
you.
our profession.
Yep. Yeah.
You Kyrie, bro.
Wow.
You Brian, bro. You Kobe, bro. Like, for real, like, I'm not saying that on some, we just making wild comparisons. Bro, you really... You're the upper echelon of this R&B shit, bro. Man. And I don't care who else tell you that. Though,
I mean, y'all the authority of this shit, so I got, you know what I'm saying?
Real talk, like
for real.
You really that guy in this shit, man. It's not like it's when I say that guy, it's not like it's not multiple guys.
Not a bunch of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a whole bunch of them, but it's a select few.
It's a select few. I agree.
But it's small,
and it gets smaller and smaller by generation.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Everybody ain't gonna have me wearing no goddamn Beatles shirt.
I appreciate that, brother.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate
this
that.
is real talk.
Beatles.
Yeah, man.
Knock 'em off.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I
Them
mean,
white niggas had to sit down for a minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when
Y'all hold on.
Yeah.
yeah, that I remember when they like made that proclamation. I was just like, what? And that was like before Be With Usher. That was before Shake It Off when they made that proclamation.
All the champagne is being poured. Oh, yeah.
It was.
Again, we can do this all night. Because we want to talk to you about a few things.
Yeah, we want to get there.
You've made a lot of records.
Broke a lot of records.
Broke a lot of records.
Make and break.
You've done some people's favorite records. But now we want to know your
Okay.
top 5.
Sing it, dog.
Your top 5.
Come on.
Top 5.
Hey now.
Your top 5.
Okay.
R&B singer. R&B song.
I like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to know. You got to show. Peacock is here, and he's gonna tell us his top 5. Yeah.
Bring it on home. Yeah.
Top 5. Your top
5.
5.
Yeah. Top 5 R&B singers.
Yeah, we're gonna start there.
Shit, that's a good one.
Let's cook.
Of all time.
Yours.
Oh, your mind of all time.
Yours.
Your personal list.
Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
Why not?
His tone, man, just unbelievable. Tone and pocket and just the ability to
You're
just
preaching to the choir, brother.
You know what I mean? Stevie Wonder.
Yep.
Specifically Stevie in the 70s to the early 80s. He was his range is crazy. He was singing lower in the early 70s, but he got to 83, 84. He's like in the rafters and just very comfortably.
He going there.
Easy.
You know what I mean?
Easy.
Damn, I got 3 more. There's so many, man. I'm just thinking about. I mean, you got to say Whitney Houston. You can't go.
You have to.
You can't go.
You have to. I'm so surprised when she's not mentioned.
Yeah, you
in someone's
can't
top
not
5.
say Whitney Houston, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just the vocals. I mean, damn, man. It's hard for me because then it's like I want to go Shaka Khan, but then I want to go. You know,
We counting it. I mean, you can go over 5, but go ahead. Shaka,
okay.
Shaka's in there.
Top 8.
Yeah. Get some more off because we're gonna cut your ass off in a minute.
Shaka Khan, man, vocals crazy. You know, I know everybody. You know, you can't.
To say it.
You can't not say R. Kelly.
You can't not say R. Kelly.
You know what I mean, I'm just.
Can't.
You know,
You
I know
can't.
the comments gonna go crazy.
Man,
whatever.
they'll say whatever they want.
They'll be okay.
They,
You know what I'm saying?
we
You
talking
can't
about
not
the
say
music
R. Kelly,
They'll
man.
be okay.
Vocally, like
and the artistry, like
Yeah,
the
like,
songs
you
that
just
go with
can't-
it.
Reason why we're here.
yeah, you just can't not do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I got a bunch of them. I feel like, you know, we get into the whole, you know, you can get into D'Angelo vibe. You can get into, you can go back and get like into like a Marvin Gaye vibe. Marvin Gaye, who's like, you can get, you know, my hey, let me tell you who's a fucking monster. We don't talk about enough, I guess, because he's way old school. But you put these clips, motherfucking David Ruffin.
You better
boy.
believe
What?
it. Who you talking to?
What?
Who you talking to?
Come on, man. The
David
original
Ruffin,
Eddie
boy,
Kane.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I
The
know the
real life
person-
Eddie Kane.
For real, David Ruffin was a fucking
Top
nuisance.
85.
177.
I mean, so many, man. I mean, Fantasia's one of my favorites. Jasmine Sullivan's one of my favorites.
All right, nigga, that's 10.
I'm sorry, man. I got so many, man.
You better make sure you bring it home or you're going to get in trouble.
Usher. Yeah, of course. I'm not really talking about. But Usher's like, and it's a deal. I always tell people, like, because I spent so many years defending, like my love for his vocal. And I'm
Which
like,
is crazy.
which is crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, to A&Rs, that's what's ill to me. The people who work in the music business. And I'm like, like, what makes Usher so special is that the nigga's tone is such a one of a kind. Like, it is the most familiar, most recognizable tone, I think, in R&B. Like, outside of, like, a Keith Sweat who has like a proper, he's
So
not
it's
Usher,
readily
you know what I'm
identifiable.
saying?
Yeah. No, I know
But
exactly what
Usher
you're
has
saying.
it's
No,
like,
very identifiable.
unless talking like Stokely, and Stokely's not really a huge artist like that. You know what I
But
mean?
when he comes on,
when
yeah.
it comes to like a massive artist, like his tone is unmatched, yo.
There's a guy named Michael Jackson.
Pristine.
Michael Jackson, damn.
Michael Jackson.
But I'm saying alive, man. I'm not gonna, Michael and Prince.
I'm the defender of the realm.
Yeah, Michael and Prince. Not the,
Oh, you like,
yeah, Michael and
Protector of
Prince.
the realm.
Michael and Prince are.
Nah, for sure.
Aren't, I don't even put them in the category.
I think it's like
They're
when you
they're out of this
when you
world.
talk about Usher, like there are things that Usher does that are just Usher things.
Period.
Yes.
And he
And
gets
that's
that
what-
from Michael. He gets that from
But he
James Brown.
He has
you know what I
his
mean?
ownership
Usher
of a
things,
thing
yes.
that is
Yeah.
a Usher thing. That
Yeah.
that nigga, I said when we sat in the studio that time, I just listened. I was like, all right, I'm not even gonna try that.
Yeah,
And
because
it's not that
him.
I can't. I
You
can't do
because
it.
you can do it.
But I'm not gonna do it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That belongs to him.
Yeah.
He has great pocket too.
Amazing
His
pocket.
pocket
But
is
I think he's
great.
when I think his ownership of records, like when you guys write a record and then he sings
Oh
it,
no, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
it's
No.
like it's
It's
he
his.
wrote
Yeah,
it.
No.
yeah.
It's his.
Like he made the track.
Yeah, no, but let me tell you what's crazy. You can't even sell we've written like 70 songs for this album. We can't sell any of them.
You can't.
Like they're
They're
Usher
his.
records.
they're
They're
his
Usher
records.
No, and
you know what I'm saying? Like it's like
he's one
Yeah.
of the few that, in all honesty, sometimes he makes bad records sound good.
a lot of times he does.
I'm not gonna say what those records are sometimes,
Yeah,
but I'm like,
we're not gonna say which records they are, but I'm saying
That's
a
just
lot of
Usher.
times. I'm saying it's like
yeah, it's
you
like
know
that
this?
ain't really that great of a
That's-
record.
that's
That's
some
just
people-
that's like cheating when I write with people.
Yeah.
I'll sing a bad line really good.
Yeah,
Just
but
to
no,
get it
that's what I'm
out.
saying. Let's say that he does that. He does that
yeah.
too.
No, it's a
Tank-
it's a select few people
It's
that,
the same
that
as
can get
like
that off.
Tank could sing a record and you be like, man, what this record really sound like?
Right.
You see, because that nigga gonna sing the fuck out of it. So it's like, wait a second,
So as a musician
Yeah.
or as a singer,
It's
it's
like-
gonna get you.
yeah, but I'm like,
But,
but who
yeah,
else?
that ain't-
Nobody else could sing this
that
song
ain't
and
it.
it come
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
Like,
that ain't
come
it.
on, man, go back in there and write something else. Because you sound so good, nigga. You just gonna give us some
It's
shit.
cheat code.
Yeah,
Gotta
'cause
cheat.
like-
You gotta cheat.
Exactly.
Gotta
So
cheat.
you know it's about to get more difficult for him now though.
Oh yeah.
So-
The artist thing was one thing.
top
I'm talking about
5
songs.
songs.
Yeah, yeah,
R&B
these-
songs.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, are you gonna be able to do 5?
I'm gonna
Just
try.
checking.
I'm gonna try to narrow down to 5 songs of all time. Shit,
Yours. You're like
my
a,
songs.
What you riding around to?
yeah. What's song?
Like
come on,
what
man.
do you find yourself? What's the freeway out here? The 85? Is that the
85?
85?
75, 85. Maybe you get on the 20. Head
What do
on
I
down to
find
Augusta.
myself? Augusta.
Augusta.
What I find myself listening to, well, lately I've been listening to a lot of Donny Hathaway. So I've been like on like Love, Love, Love heavy. Like that song is so special to me. It's something very beautiful and lush about that song and the production of it and his meaningfulness and how he delivers the record. And it
His
feels like
delivery.
he's, you know what I mean? It feels like he means that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He sang songs like it was the last song he was gonna ever sing.
100%. 100%. And that song specifically gives me chills every time I hear it. And I've been naturally stuck on that song for like maybe about a week now. I would say, shit, this is a good one. Top 5 all time. My favorites. I have so many. Later in My Life, Michael Jackson is like,
Yes. Yeah.
what can you say about that song? That's not,
Perfection.
you know what I'm saying? It's like literally one of the best songs ever created, right? Shit. And on the spot too, if y'all niggas, if I had some time, I'd have been to think about it. On the spot, it's like, damn, I'm drawing a blank. Who else? Damn. I don't know why I'm stuck, man. A song I love. I love Lady by D'Angelo.
We all do.
That record is so special.
Life-changing record.
Yeah.
So special.
Yeah. That's 3.
That's 3, so I got 2 more. Trying to think.
I just want you to know you have really big records. So
I know.
you want it.
I think for me, I mean, you know, a record I love a lot that I co-wrote that I love, You Got It Bad.
Okay.
You Got It Bad. It's just like,
Yeah.
to me, I feel like that song is like one of them songs. It's kind of like, that's why I always reference that song, because it's like, I learned so much in that session. The first thing I learned, but the second thing is just like, it's so simple, but he sang it so beautifully, and it was like
He smashed
heartfelt,
that
and it's
record.
like magic.
He's
Literally,
It's all of those those simple elements coming together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that song is magic.
I mean, it's like from the beginning, from the very top when he hits the like from the top,
Yeah.
it's just like, what the fuck is this coming on right now?
It's the wind.
Yeah, the wind. It's the wind. It's the wind. And I mean, you know, I guess for there's so many, man, but I cannot. I would be remiss not to mention Mary's Be Without You.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
you know, I mean,
you can't.
you have to.
I mean,
You
she don't
have
even
to.
sing that song no more. People, it's still the biggest
serious?
record. Yeah,
What?
Mary don't sing that song no more. I haven't seen Mary sing that song in forever, man.
On the road, she don't sing that song?
She stopped singing that song a long time ago.
Why?
I don't know. Did I ask her?
Wow.
She never really seen a song like that. Like, she does. I'm willing to bet she didn't sing that song in like a minimum of 5-6 years, probably longer.
We need Mary on the pod. Talk about this.
Yeah, she hadn't sang that song in a long time.
All right, listen. Let's make a Voltron. This is what we're gonna do. You remember Voltron?
Yeah.
With the lions?
Yeah.
I'll form the feet and legs. Remember that? Yeah. So took niggas back. And I'll form the head and torso.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna make a Voltron. You're a super R&B artist. So we
Okay.
want to know who you're gonna get the vocal from for this Voltron, who you're gonna get the performance style from for this Voltron, who you're gonna get the styling from for this Voltron, who you're going to get the passion, the heart of the artist, and lastly, who's gonna write and produce for
Damn.
this artist. Let's start with the vocal. Who you getting the vocal to make your Voltron?
Damn, this is hard because I kind of think vocal. I think two of
One.
them would be the same person.
One vocal.
One vocal. If I did.
You can mix it. You can mix it.
You want to mix a vocal? We're gonna let him mix.
No.
All right.
I was saying no. I was saying
Bryan-Michael Cox, man.
the vocal, and it was something else you said.
If they're the same
Vocal.
person, don't matter. It's
Okay.
yours.
Yeah.
Vocal, I'm going Usher, just because.
It's just because.
Just yeah,
Because he can.
yeah,
And you can.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Performance style.
Performance style. This is what I was saying. It might be the same person. But. Beyonce.
Yeah.
Beyonce. Her fucking performance game is crazy.
I catch hell.
Her vocal game is crazy
for saying
too.
she's the greatest female performer
Oh, Nick,
of all time. I
period.
catch hell.
Who's? No man, finish. Who's better?
I'm not jumping in that one because that's tough. That's tough.
It's tough. You know, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
I'm
It's tough.
not jumping in that one.
Cause we gonna say
But
what Tina Turner. People got different.
People gonna say Tina. People gonna say Janet.
Janet. People got
Yeah,
because
they
Janet's
got-
crazy with it.
Janet's crazy.
Yeah, Janet's crazy with it though.
But you
But
couple the
Beyonce.
vocal.
Oh,
To this
Beyonce's
day.
vocal with
couple of
performance?
vocals. Yeah.
Because Beyonce's vocals, let's not really.
Press.
We've
And
not
that-
talked about her vocal at all this whole show.
They don't. I don't know I don't know
They
what's
sleep
going
on
on
Beyonce's
the
vocal,
internet
bro.
when a
That's
person
yeah.
says that Beyonce don't sing all
Beyonce
like that.
sings her ass
They-
off,
they-
bro.
they're
Talking
I'm
crazy.
talking about out of control.
Out of control.
they're
It's
crazy.
literally out of control.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We
Performance
go on a
Beyonce,
tangent.
for sure.
Okay, the styling of the artist.
Styling of the artist. Kanye.
Yeah.
I like that.
Kanye
me
West.
too.
I like that a
For
lot.
sure. Kanye.
Have you worked with
Specifically,
Kanye?
you know what's crazy? And hold that.
Let me hold it.
Yes, I have.
Pause.
That we did a remix for Let's Get Married.
What kind?
The original remix, before the remix you guys heard, there was a remix that we got a beat CD from Kanye. Kanye had a song deal with Jermaine.
With Jermaine.
And we got a beat CD from Kanye, and he took this Hall & Note sample, Grounds for Separation. He chopped the sample up, and Jagged Edge Brian and Brandon wrote a song on top of it. It's out. I mean, you can find it. I mean, it came out. It was on the single, but just the other version
Just went somewhere
blew up.
else.
Went somewhere
Kanye's
else.
rapping on this version too, by the way. This is the first time Kanye ever rapped on like a feature, like an R&B featured song.
Most people
or some
don't know
shit.
that. Even if you
wow.
can't
No,
find it.
you
most
can
people-
Google it. That shit is.
Yeah, most
that
people
shit is
don't know
on.
that,
It's on DSPs and everything. It's out.
Oh wow.
It's called Let's Get Married, the reception mix.
Oh, I gotta go.
The
So
Reception
basically,
mix, yeah.
we picked the song, we picked the track, we did the remix at noontime, the
Mm-hmm.
vocals, and I took the files over. We worked at Lil Jon's studio off Cobb Park, not Cobb Park, well, South Cobb, and went over there, and I met him over there. He hooked all the shit up, and we tracked the beat. I did overdubs, and we finished the remix together. He rapped on it, and
Wow.
the whole shit.
Nice.
That was back in like 98. Back in the
Nice.
day, yeah,
Shit.
yeah. So yeah, so
All right.
Kanye on styling,
The passion of the artist.
passion.
Heart of the artist.
Passion. This may cause a stir, but the fuck, Chris Brown.
No stir.
Chris Brown is passionate, yo. He's crazy than motherfucker, but he's
These
passionate.
niggas haven't
means
faced
it.
what Chris Brown has faced.
He's passionate,
just haven't.
bro. That nigga's
If
passionate.
he
about
wasn't
his
passionate,
shit.
he would have gave up.
He's
He'd have been-
passionate.
he'd have-
That's my point.
No.
Against all odds, that motherfucker
Yeah.
still loves to do this shit.
Loves
He was just
to
over
do
there.
it.
I'm talking about
And
Like-
after we left, he was still going.
Still.
this nigga got like a million songs, bro. This nigga works.
7 songs a night.
He works
Just-
like a maniac, bro. I don't know anybody who works harder than
I had
him.
never seen
Walk-
anything
I mean, as
like
far
that.
as like in the studio,
Music.
I've never
He's
seen
just-
anything like
No,
that.
but
That
this,
nigga,
no,
he's a
already-
maniac.
No, because then when he got to go do the
Shows and
shit, get
shit.
ready. No, like he'll go. I remember he came home from prison, and he was chubby. He was like, "Big bro,
I gotta get this off.
I gotta get this off me." The nigga got it off in like 3 days. I had never seen nothing like that. But he said, "Nigga, I'm about to go on rehearsal.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna live in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance this shit off."
and he fucking danced it off.
absolutely.
That nigga's a maniac, bro. But the passion.
To be in this shit and to be at the highest levels, you have to be. You can't. You're
can't
not
halfway.
going to be normal.
No.
He's one
You're
of the
not
most.
gonna be sane.
And he's been since he was a child.
Gotta go there.
He was a child. You know what I mean? People forget that. I mean, even all the people we just named. Usher was a child. Beyonce was a child.
Stevie Wonder was a
Stevie
child.
Like,
Michael Jackson was
was
a child. Prince
You know,
was technically
Prince
a child.
was a child too. Prince was 16. He was a child too. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you are a child,
It's
in this
different.
shit,
It's different.
It's different.
you live this. Like
different.
Chris Brown is one of them motherfuckers, man.
Bobby Brown.
Forget about
Ralph
it.
Tresvant.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Real
them
lead
niggas.
singer. I be going there about Ralph.
Yeah.
I don't play about Ralph.
Don't play
dog.
okay.
Ralph is the lead
Hey,
singer though.
hey,
No, my
hey,
nigga.
listen.
Ralph is the lead singer though.
Of all lead singers, nigga. he carried 5 niggas on his back
Yeah.
for 30 dates.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
just watched it
Absolutely.
We was just like this.
to this day.
This nigga shows every night.
He show up every night.
Every night.
He
Ralph.
show up every night. We
The
just
lead
came-
singer
he-
of all lead singers,
Man,
bro.
that was crazy.
But he really embodied and took the lead singer like he took like an old school 60s Temptations version of the lead singer concept.
Been doing it since he was 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it might have hurt him when he was a solo
As
artist.
a solo artist, it did.
Because
But
he
in-
was so much
of the lead-
New
edition.
Edition.
He was
Yeah.
he was
He was New
he
Edition.
was New Edition. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay.
Who's writing and producing for this
Writing and
artist?
producing.
Yeah, yeah. This should be easy.
Jermaine Dupri and Bryan-Michael Cox.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100%.
Before we go there,
100%.
before we go there, and we don't usually, we usually go right to it, but Tell us what you're doing now.
So right now I'm senior vice president and executive producer at Love Renaissance Records.
Very important.
That is Summer Walker. We have Summer Walker Black. We have new artist Alex Vaughn, Sad Boy, another artist named North Ave Jax. The partners Justice Tunde, Sean Famoso, Amber Grimes, Carlin. Great company, man. We're building. You know what I mean? We have a lot of momentum.
In a big R&B company.
Big R&B company.
Yes.
We really believe in the whole idea and concept of what R&B music is supposed to be today. And I think that what I bring to the table, obviously, is, you know, the veteran perspective and the hit-making, you know, scope of bringing that to what this new generation deems as R&B. We know that R&B is turned to vibes, you know, since, you know, Drake, even though Drake makes hit records, okay? That's the point that always gets me kind of crazy. I'm like, I do know Drake makes hits though.
Okay.
I mean, he's the vibe, yes, but he actually makes hit records. He's deliberate about the records he fucking makes.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, a lot of these R&B artists, the younger ones, they are looking at artists like him and looking at, and they're vibing and they're making dope shit.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's not blowing because it's not deliberate when it comes to like, we're going to go in and make a hit record. We're just making shit and going viral, and it's going to catch. And if it catches, then we good, right? But I think what LVRN is really attempting to do, and what we really want to do, is like take that energy, right? Because you don't want to lose that energy. You want to keep that energy. So that's a really strong positive energy. But let's hone it and
Be deliberate about
making these records. And I feel like what we're doing with our new artist with Sad Boy specifically, I think that we're literally saying, okay, we're going to be deliberate about what kind of records we're making, and we're going about that way with Alex's new shit. We're going about that way with Summer. I feel like we're really taking it in that space. You know what I'm saying?
Great company, man. I'm glad that you took that job.
Yeah. And it's crazy I came about. We were just talking about, you know, obviously we did the Division album, and me and Justice were having a conversation about A&R, and you know, I was going to do something else. At the time I was talking to other companies, and I was going to go into an executive space anyway, and it just wasn't clicking, you know, talking to these other companies and culture. What I appreciate about Love Renaissance is that it's more than a company, it's actually a culture. It's not just like, oh, you're going to take a job and it's like, oh, corporate shit, you know, day to day. You know, working at a major label sometimes could fall into just you doing corporate shit. It's not necessarily a culture to the label. It's just corporate numbers, and then whatever sub labels you have deals with, that's
where the culture is. Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm I'd rather work with the sub labels than work with the major if I can't be involved with actually curating culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we're excited about what you guys are doing over there, man.
Yeah,
congratulations on that.
Appreciate that. And
Really
I think that you know, we're just really just scraping the surface of what is to come. We have some really, really great shit coming up. So
I got our
I'm excited
support.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We're not gonna let you out here without this stuff.
Ready now?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready, baby.
I ain't saying no name.
Hey.
I ain't saying no names. I ain't saying no names. I ain't saying no name. Who you was, who you with, what you did. Don't say shit. I ain't saying no name.
Hallelujah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So Bryan-Michael Cox,
Yeah.
Talk to him.
you've been in this game for a long time.
Long time.
Your mama bought you Rick James.
Rick James, man, his first
Cold-blooded.
album, Cold Blooded. 83. Who do you
At 6.
At 6 years
6.
old.
So you were
My
destined for all of this.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But as you were destined for all this, you had to go through all this.
Yeah.
So with you being here now, we want you to tell us a story, funny or fucked up, or funny and fucked up. The travels of Bryan-Michael Cox. I ain't saying no names. The only rule to the game, you can't say nobody's name.
Okay. All right. So there was this artist. So I had a couple encounters with this one artist. And this actually was the artist I was saying that it was like, oh, Usher's, he's like Usher. He can't really like with the same. That was the preface of the prefix of the meeting, right? So I meet the guy, right? Comes to the studio. I was working at Larrabee. Comes to the studio, comes in with a bunch of fake jewelry on. Like I'd never seen anything like this really. It was super cartoon characters. I'd never seen nothing like this like in person. Mm-hmm. He pulls up. He got the whole kit caboodle on. Like this is back when he was wearing the really baggy jean outfits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had so comes in. He's like really cocky. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, man. Let me hear something. They play me some of the music. It's cool. It's not nothing crazy, but it's not terrible. I'm like, okay, well, cool. All right.
Yeah.
We can do something. We'll figure it out. So he's like, yeah, man. I'm trying to take this shit to the next level, man. I'm so and so and so. I'm gonna be bigger than everybody. And I'm like, okay, cool. I've heard this before, but all right, cool. It's good to have belief in yourself, confidence. So then there was this girl that I was dealing with at the time who comes in. She came to visit me. She comes in, and he sees her, and he's like, I guess that they had like some type of interaction before, like he was trying to talk to her, and it didn't really pan out or whatever. Yeah. So she comes in, and he's like, "What's she doing here?" And she's like, "What? I'm here to see him, right?" Pointing at me. He's like, "Oh, you here to see B? Okay, I get it. You here to see B Cox? Okay, all right. All right, that's cool, right? Whatever. So I can see the niggas kidding. He don't like it at all. He's not fucking with it, right? So I'm like, no, it's all good, man. Everything's cool, man. It's just my homegirl, whatever. We trying to play it cool. So as the session goes on, this guy's not really he's not good at all. I thought he was at least decent, but then we probably come with the song.
He's not good at all.
Right? So we get through the song. She's still there. So I dip, go to the bathroom. I dip, go to the bathroom, come back, and walk in on him talking to her, right? And he's like, yeah, I got money now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Why don't you let me just, you know what I'm saying, take you out of town, whatever. I got money now, I got a deal. You know what I'm saying? He just, and he all in there, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? He's like, oh, no, nothing, I'm just, I caught him in the middle, I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's all good, whatever. If she go to this, whatever. You know what I mean?
We ain't handcuffed.
Cool. Fast forward. I get a call from the A&R. He's like, yo, man, we want you and him we want him going, you and Jermaine. I'm like, all right. So I tell Jermaine, I like, yo, they want us to work with this kid. I tell him the name. He's like, all right, bring the kid down. Bring him to Atlanta. Now we're in Atlanta, and we write another song. This kid is not good. So I know this already. I know this going into it. I'm like, yo, this kid is not good, but this is our man. The A&R guy's our man. Let's make it happen. Start recording with this kid, right? And mind you, I sing enough to get my ideas out right. Whatever. I can karaoke. I can sing a little bit, but I'm not I'm not an artist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, for me, I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, yo, like, bro, like, I should not be able to sing this better than you. You getting paid to sing. Right. You told me you was the best motherfucker you ain't showing me nothing yet. Yeah. Me, Tank, I'm usually not like this. I'm usually super.
This is different.
But there's also a woman involved.
Yeah.
No. No. This
you tried. You tried.
You tried me.
You tried me, little nigga.
No, so what happened was, we're going through, the session's going terrible. So I tell the runner, yo, go get me like a bottle of Hennessy. I was drinking Hennessy at the time. We made a bottle of Hennessy. I got to get through this, right? So Jermaine knows that once I start
getting the
going up, he's like, all right, man, you know what, dog? I'm gonna get up on out here, man. Y'all finish up.
Jermaine's gonna dip.
So
good luck.
So I'm drinking. I'm taking shots in. And he's fucking up. I'm like, yo, man, again. So the drunker I get, the more belligerent I'm getting, right? So, so now, for whatever we in, it's like maybe another 2 hours. All right, so I'm done, got halfway down the bottle, 75% down the bottle. Next thing you know, when Jermaine comes in, I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs, like, yo, that's not the fucking note. You can't fucking sing. I'm going crazy on this kid. I'm going I'm going so crazy on
That's
this
not
kid.
even your
And I
personality.
know, this kid wants to fight me. I'm going crazy on this kid. Like, yo, you know what? Why are we wasting our time, man? You wasting our time. You wasting your budget. You're not gonna never get this shit right. You didn't get the last song right. I'm going crazy on this kid, like going crazy. And they're like, okay, that's enough. Brian is out. Brian's out.
Jermaine's gonna take over.
Jermaine tagged you out.
He's like, yeah, that's enough. Come on out here, man. It's enough. It's enough. You beating the kid up. It's too much. It's too much. And I was like, you know what? I'm not drinking in sessions no more. I stopped. Like that's what made me stop getting drunk in sessions because I was like, because before I could drink a little bit, if we working and we vibing, we have a little drinks, cool. We can get past it. If you're drinking, if I'm drinking and it's bad. It's gonna go all bad.
So do you have a nickname for this guy?
Hey man, get out of there, man. Get out of there.
No, I'm saying for who he became off the Hennessy.
Oh, the Hennessy.
Oh, the nickname. Oh, you know what?
Hennessy B?
Yeah, it should be that. But I don't drink Hennessy anymore. See, that was the thing. I stopped drinking Hennessy shortly thereafter because I had another situation that was kind of really fucked up off the Hennessy. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this no more.
It's aggressive.
So Hennessy really makes you want to fight somebody, and I'm not really naturally that kind of a person.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah.
You wanted to fight the kid?
Oh no, I was going crazy on the kid. I was like, because I was like, there's a few things I don't like. For me, if I'm coming into a situation and I'm like, man, let the room dictate what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in with good energy and we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a person like, you know, Quincy Jones say, lead the door open and let God come in and whatever happens, happens. I'm that person. We come in, got ideas, let's get the vibe. Because the vibe's gotta be, we gotta be bouncing, you know. If you come into a room, I know that we're gonna get a lot of shit done.
Yeah.
Because it's just our energy.
Yeah.
Like, if a person coming in there like, nigga, you ain't done nothing yet. I'm not even, you know what I mean? It'd be different if you were like a star, then I would, or had done some things that I would be like, okay, I gotta respect that you may be a little eclectic and you gotta get your shit off.
But it's
You know what I
working,
mean?
right.
But bro, you ain't done nothing. Like, I mean, zero. You coming in here telling me, you need us right now, family. You need everything we got to give you. And you can't even deliver. So it'd be different if you was delivering and I was just badgering you. Like, bro, you listening back to this shit? I would be like, you listen back to that? It don't sound the way I sang it.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, you was whooping.
Oh, I was beating him.
He was whooping him.
I was beating him down.
That is a different
I was beating him down.
Bryan-Michael Cox. We
So
gotta give him a name.
Yeah, I tucked him away because I don't drink Hennessy no more. So I tucked him away.
So my question is, did he ever get a hit?
He did.
Yeah.
He actually got a record. I'm going to give you guys a hint.
I already know who it is.
You know who it is?
I know who it is. I know who it is.
He got one record.
I know exactly
one
who it
record
is.
off.
And I know the people going to be like, Jay, tell me.
He got one record
y'all,
off.
but I know who this artist is because I'm pretty sure I came across them.
He got one record off.
We'll get into it.
No, we not. We never ask, guys. We don't know. Don't DM me. I don't know.
He got one record off. One
know
record.
exactly
Never to
who
be
it
heard
is.
from again, but he got one record
Yep.
off.
Well, brother Elder Hennessy.
Elder
Hennessy.
Bishop
Cognac
and
and Elder Hennessy.
That's it. That's the
We're
name.
gonna start our church. We're gonna start our church. Elder Hennessy and Bishop Cognac.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm going to start the building fund.
Oh, yeah. We got to get the building
Jay's
fund,
in
baby.
charge of all the money.
Get the building fund.
Collect the money, Jay.
Yeah, man.
Brother,
man.
man,
Thank
we
you,
love
bro.
you, brother.
Man,
Love you,
I
bro.
Love
We
you guys,
love you,
man. I
brother,
appreciate
man.
y'all. You know, we could go
Yeah.
for another couple hours, man. We
man,
could
all
all
day.
night up in here.
Literally all day. We could do this
Yeah.
all day, man.
I'm
but we
so
just,
glad I got a chance to do this with
Yeah.
y'all, man. We've been trying to do this for a minute.
Yeah. But we just want to make sure that people, you know, we just want to
Make sure they celebrate
make sure
you.
they celebrate you, man.
Appreciate
Because
you,
you
brother.
should be celebrated.
Appreciate y'all,
Yeah.
brothers, man.
And
For real.
not later.
Yeah.
Now.
Now.
Right now.
I appreciate y'all, man. For real.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
My name is Tank,
I'm J Valentine.
and this is the R&B Money Podcast, the authority.
Authority.
The authority
Yeah.
on all things
Yeah.
R&B.
Huh.
And in the building, we have the authority on all things R&B, one of the
Yes,
greatest
sir.
of all time.
Yes,
Give
sir.
it for Bryan-Michael Cox.
Let
Thank
that
you,
burn.
thank you, thank you.
Go ahead, let that
Go
burn.
ahead, let that burn.
Let that burn.
R&B Money